and say, my dad's...
Welcome to glorious Goulburn, 195 kilometres southwest of Sydney, and we are at Australia's top spectator track. All 2.2 kilometres of this fast and physical circuit can be seen by the race fans at the track. And welcome to round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. I'm Kate Peck, and with me is ASBK champ and World Endurance champion Steve Martin. Steve, it is great to be here. They always put on a show racing-wise at this circuit, and it's really the top 15 Superbike riders that are generally split by just a second.
Yeah, that's the nature of this Wakefield Park circuit. It is an amazing place because it just creates such close racing. It's always nail-biting here. There's always action. As a rider out on track, you can't afford to slack off a little bit because you can go from that third or fourth place back to 15th, just like you say. So there's no resting around this circuit. You need to be physically fit too because it's tough, tight and bumpy.
And it's all eyes on Mike Jones, the pole
changed his name from Mad Mike to Magic Mike because he's on a bit of a purple patch at the moment. When Jonesy goes out, he dominates at the moment. He's in a good space, but it's going to be tough for him because although he's ahead and he's been ahead a little bit, we know guys like Wayne Maxwell, we know guys like his teammate Crew Halliday gunning for victory here. It's really here where someone's going to take Mike Jones down if they can.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of taking Mike Jones down, there is the king of Wakefield Park, which is Troy Herfoth. This is his home race. He knows every inch of asphalt, but has he recovered enough from his injury last year for the physicality of this track?
Look, the injury's long gone past. That's in the back of his mind. He grew up 4 kilometres just over the back there. He was listening to bikes going around this track. He's won more races than anybody here. And this is the closest we've seen him to the front. He's less than a couple of tenths off of those fast guys at the front. He starts in the second row of the grid. He's had a good morning warm-up. So watch out for Herfoth and that flying Honda. I really do believe that this is his best chance of getting back on the podium, and if he does, expect to see some tears.
Exactly. Exciting stuff right there, Steve Martin. Okay, we're going to check out the Alpine Stars Superbike Championship points. After his outstanding round 2 performances, Mad Mike has taken the championship lead on his R1 Yamaha with 86 points. But nipping at his heels is 16 points behind Desmo Sport Ducati rider Brian Starring, who's gaining momentum after a solid start to the season on the V4R. And in P3, the 3-time ASBK champ Josh Waters, plus in P4 with 64 points as the reigning Superbike champ, Boost Mobile with tech suspension. Maxwell. It hasn't been the best start to his season, but he's had his fair share of wins at Wakefield Park, and he's hungrier than ever. And rounding out the top 5 is Glenn Allerton here for points after an unlucky couple of rounds. So excellent racing coming up in all of the classes, including the Michelin Supersport, where they've got 2 of the front runners that are out this weekend. Tom Edwards has head overseas for the World Supersport wildcard, and Ollie Simpson got injured yesterday. So it's really anybody's race.
Yeah, I mean, you just couldn't place a better situation for the excitement of the championship at the moment. As you said, a couple of the top guys, Edwards and St Agis, are headed overseas. Ollie Simpson came here thinking, right, I'm comfortably leading. Unfortunately, had a crash yesterday, dislocated his shoulder. You know, he's going to be okay, but it was out for 7 hours, so he was in a lot of pain. It's back in now. So he's out of the picture. So then Ty Lynch and the other guys that are right up there in the championship as well. John Littress thought, right, we're in for a good shot. Ty Lynch has just come off in a morning warm-up as well. So, I mean, these guys just need to stay on the bike to try and take the lead of this championship. But it's going to be a real interesting race. We've got guys like Mitch Kuhn as well, who's also proving that he's not just pretty in pink, he's fast as well.
Pretty in green too. He's got all the colours going on there. Well, there's so much to come today racing-wise, Steve Martin. Really exciting racing. The weather is looking pretty good. Tell me about the conditions.
You know, look, this Wakefield Park, it just throws everything up. The hotel this morning, it's raining and drizzling coming in. When we did our track piece, it was raining in the morning, but half an hour later there was sunshine. So it can be anything. At the moment, we've got real perfect conditions out there on track. I'm sure that as the day progresses, we're going to see a little bit of wind coming up. But right now, apart from it being a little bit cold, which is going to play, you know, with the tyres, we've got perfect conditions.
And I tell you what also was a big conversation talking point yesterday was tyres. People weren't sure on which tyres they were going to choose for the race today.
Yeah, well, it is really tricky because this is, if you think of the last few ASBK rounds, it's been hot everywhere we've been, you know, so the temperature does play a big part on the compound of those tyres. And in all honesty, the teams are going, well, this is the first cold one we've had, so they haven't really had enough time to really put to the test, you know, in these cold conditions, how long the tyres are going to last.
Yeah, okay, well, there's a lot of unknowns out there. It's exciting stuff. And Phil Harlan, we are sending it right up to you, expert commentator.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kate. Time to have a look at this Wakefield Park venue. We head off down through Alpine Stars Turn 1, a very fast corner, very scary. Then we're straight back through the gearbox into Motul Corner Turn 2. Then the long drive up the hill to Dunlop Turn 3. Then 2 very quick corners in succession, Suzuki Turn 4 and Ducati Turn 5. Then we head out down the hill through the Michelin right-hander, all the way down through AMMF and into the hard braking area for the Pirelli Turn Corner 8, then we go through Honda Turn 9, out onto the very short back straight, quickly accelerate up, back down through the gearbox, into Yamaha Revshahard Corner, Turn 10, and back out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. Time to find out more about this track with Steve Martin.
Well, Troy, here we are. You grew up 4 kilometres away from here. Little did you know that you would become the king of Wakefield Park, and that's why we've got you here today to tell us about this 2.2 kilometre track. And I want to start here at Turn 1. I couldn't help but notice how you guys just get so close to this wall and clip it almost on your way into that Alpine Stars Turn 1.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with Wakefield Park. It's not the fastest straight on the circuit, but the spectators can literally stand there on that wall and they can reach out and touch you. So when you're going down the straight at 240 or 50k an hour and you're just banking in a turn,
Cruise up to this point, isn't it? You know, you're up through the gears, but when you're coming into Dunlop here, things get tight, fast and furious.
it sure gets really intense from this point. The track's skinny, the curves are high, there's bumps, there's change of direction. If you mess turn 2 up, the whole lap's pretty much gone. So, like, it's so important to be really precise on the way through turn 2.
Well, Troy, this is one of your favourite corners, and there's been plenty of riders that have seen you slide up the inside here.
It sure is. I've had so many great passes into this corner. I'm not sure why, but I just like it. It's really technical. It's off camber. But on the other side of that, Steve, I've also been off in the gravel here where I've come in a little bit too hot. And because the corner closes up so much and you've got to be so precise, it's really easy to make a mistake.
Well, you certainly don't get much rest out of the Honda corner down this short back straight, but it's really important to set yourself up for this final corner.
This corner's so slow, Steve, that on a Superbike with 200 horsepower, it's possible to pass someone over the finish line because the bike just slides out of the corner no matter what lap you're on, how much grip you've got.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's also a little bit off bank, but it's a corner that you would want to be leading coming out. I mean, have you ever been dragged to the line before?
Yeah, you would think you want to lead in the last corner, but I think I've lost here twice now on the way to the finish line. So, yeah, it is possible to win from second place, but you definitely want to be leading in the last turn.
Well, it's not much of a run to that final straight there, but I'll tell you what, if you do get it right, as you have in the past, it's real good if you can high-five the crowd, hey?
Yeah, that was cool. Going on the grass banking, high-fiving the locals and my family. It's a memory I won't forget.
Getting ready for the first race on today's program. It is the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars, their third race for the weekend, and joined in commentary by Lachlan Mansell, a man that knows plenty about this class. Now let's have a look at the front row of the grid. It is Courtney Prince and Nicholas Lichtenberger that start off that front row of the grid, Lockie.
Indeed it is. Top 10 positions reversed based on the finishing positions in race 2 yesterday afternoon. So we've got Lee Bowler and Anthony Tamoro out of positions 3 and 4 on the grid. Ryan Reynolds and Reece Chapman, Josh Anderson, Cody Garland, and then the drivers who fought it out victory yesterday, Lachlan Ward and Tom Heyman starting out of positions 9 and 10. Tom Heyman, the current championship leader, he's won both rounds so far and was a double race winner yesterday, but was very closely challenged by Lachlan Ward. Third race of the weekend, Courtney Prince, one of the rising female motorsport stars, on pole position. Lights out and away we go. Prince missed the reaction time. Nicholas Lichtenberger, a great start from the outside of the front row, and it's going to be Lichtenberger who will lead the field down into turn number 1, with Prince trying to defend there on the inside line. Lee Bowler, a very nice start as well, and they're going to go 3 wide, and we've got a spinner in the background. Cody McKay has rotated, manages to recover with a nice 360-degree spin, and Lichtenberger's gone. The driver who was the early race leader somehow manages to reverse off the track without getting T-boned by the rapidly charging field.
I'm not sure if he reversed off the track or he just went spearing off the track in reverse, Lockie, as they make their way down to the bottom of the hill. Now it's going to be very interesting to see how Tom Heyman comes through the field. Yesterday in race 2, he was pretty much unchallenged at the front, but a fair bit of work to do today with a fair few of the Aussie racing cars in front of him.
And that's the good thing about this reverse grid format. It mixes up the field, and it means that drivers have to rely not just on speed but on racecraft as well. Lee Bowler, one of the older and more experienced drivers in the field, is your race leader ahead of Reece Chapman. Those two have checked out because then you've got a big battle pack of cars, including some of those faster drivers who are trying to make their way through from a bit further back in the pack. It is Cody Garland who's worked his way up into position number 3 at this point, followed closely by Lachlan Ward.
Yeah, it's also interesting to see the spread of ages through this category. There's obviously guys coming up through the field that are younger guys, but there's also plenty of older guys out there having a great bit of enjoyment in these classic little cars. They look like full-size cars there at Wakefield Park, but they're actually quite small, and a lot of motorcycle DNA in there as well.
Yeah, hence the reason there's such a good fit on the program for the Australian Superbike Championship, because they all do run at Yamaha 1300cc motors, driven through a sequential gearbox. They're running on a different tyre this weekend than would normally be the case. It's a Nankang tyre compared to the Kumo tyre that they normally use because of some supply chain issues we've seen with so many components within the motorsport industry. But there is our current championship leader, Tom Heyman, putting the pressure on Josh Anderson a bit further back in the pack. Anderson covering to the inside into turn 10.
Yeah, Heyman had a massive brake lock-up down into the bottom of Pirelli there and was trying to find his way past, just couldn't quite get the job done, and still sits back there in 7th position trying to work his way through this field. It is our 2 leaders, Lee Bowler and Reece Chapman, that have got a pretty handy 2-second plus lead over the rest of the field as they come through turn 2, the Motul corner, and drive up the hill through AMMF. Then we get to the top area of the circuit. Even though these cars are pretty
cars are not able to do so. Bowler and Chapman, like you said, they've built a handy lead over their rivals, but if they keep squabbling, that lead's going to be eroded as we see Bowler a break lock up into the fishhook, runs wide, completely misses the apex. Reece Chapman seizes the opportunity and fires up the inside. Cody Garland, he's a man on a mission in position 3, fastest lap of the race. The last time around with a minute 6.6 lap time as he reels in our race-leading duo.
Yeah, a couple of creative lines out there. Someone with a couple of wheels on the grass as he came out of the Honda corner, turn 9, and made his way up through the back straight. As we see there, car number 100, that's Ryder Quinn, doing a pretty good job there in a pretty tense battle pack going on. As you can see them make their way down. As we see a replay of the start now, yeah, that was one person that got it all wrong on the grid and lost many places straight away. But then as they made their way up towards the top of the hill, that was our early race leader, along with a few others that speared off the circuit. You can see there, Lichtenberger spun it around and then went off the circuit in reverse.
Yeah, very lucky, like I said, not to get collected by the passing field, but a mistake on cold tyres. And here's the lead change, how it happened at the fishhook. Just a slight brake lock up there on the run down the hill. The front left tyre does get very much unloaded there at the fishhook as we see that Bowler's going to lose another spot. Up the inside goes Cody Garland, so a change there in second position. Lachlan Ward, who did an impressive job yesterday, he's worked his way forward as well and currently sits in position 4. We saw yesterday that Lachlan Ward's car came on very strongly in the later stages of the race, so he's got good consistency in that car, and he's done plenty of laps around Wakefield Park in all different racing categories, including Hyundai XLs, Formula Ford and Legend cars over the years as well.
It was only a couple of laps ago that the two leaders had a pretty handy 2-second plus lead. We've now got 4 cars all dicing for the lead now as we make our way through turn 2, the Motul corner, and start to make our way up the hill. It's at the top 6 covered by about 2 seconds now as they come through the Dunlop corner at the top of the hill, giving these tyres a fair workout. The other interesting thing, Lockie, too, is that the cars are all the same weight, including the weight of the driver as well, to try and make sure that there's plenty of parity between it and resulting in the close racing that we're seeing here.
Indeed, it's a very tightly controlled category. 595 kilograms is the minimum weight, including both car and driver. As we see Lee Bowler just surrendering a couple more positions there at the fishhook with both Josh Anderson and Tom Heyman getting through. Heyman, an excellent run through turn number 9. He'll be well positioned on the inside when they get to the braking zone for turn 10, and this should be a fairly easy move up the inside. Indeed it is.
So what you're saying is that race leader is Reece Chapman, but still the fastest man on track is Tom Heyman, who set that fastest lap only a couple of laps ago, and he's also the race winner in race 2 yesterday. He started from 10th place on the grid, making his way through the field, doing a pretty good job, considering the amount of traffic that he's got to deal with as well. I think he just came into view there. He's made his way up into 4th place now. You can see the green and white Mustang starting to make his way forward. And in another lap or two, these 3 that have broken away from the rest of the group may have a very hard charging race winner from yesterday to deal with.
Yeah, well, 1 minute 6.0, that's actually the quickest lap time that we've seen in race conditions so far this weekend, and it's only 4/10 of a second away from the race lap record, which was set here way back in 2008 by Ben McCashney. Last time we had the Aussie racing cars here in a lead challenge, and a lead change on at turn 10 as Cody Garland sends it down the inside of Reece Chapman and goes to the front. Cody Garland coming off the back of a stint in the TCR Australia Series, supporting Gary Rogers' Motorsport prepared Renault Megane, but continuing to run in the Aussie racing cars as well. And Lachlan Ward sitting there in 3rd, just maintaining a watching brief as we check out the AMX replay of how it happened.
Yeah, that was a very good manoeuvre there up the inside. You could see the car was a fair bit out of control, but he managed to keep it on line, and most importantly, out of that final corner, the Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner, maintain your drive down the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. That's not an easy thing to do.
And I reckon that Tom Heyman must have made a bit of an error, because Josh Anderson is back in front as Lachlan Ward peeks down the inside of Reece Chapman. One of the things that you will notice, Phil, is that a lot of these cars are locking brakes in the sections of the circuit where either the front right or the front left wheel gets unloaded. With this Nankang tyre that the drivers are running on this weekend, a lot of them have been talking about challenges of getting the car set up for braking stability, and that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many brake lock-ups.
Yeah, there was plenty of smoke around the circuit yesterday in the races, but also in Friday practice and qualifying as they try to tune themselves into these tyres, which are a little bit different, as you mentioned, from the rest of the tyres that they use for the series. Back through Motul corner we go, and starting to run up the hill now on lap 8 of the journey. Here we go. Car number 78 has spun off. That's Grant Thompson. Looks like he's got his Mustang back on track though. Yeah,
in the Western Sydney Motorsport entry. Had a couple of little off-track excursions in yesterday's second race as well, did Grant Thompson. But
hopefully he doesn't drive his Hertz hire car like that one.
I would hope not. The battle continues at the front of the field. Lachlan Ward continuing to put the pressure on Race Chapman. And Lachlan Ward will be pretty keen to get ahead of Chapman as quickly as he can, because you can see those very fast cars of Josh Anderson and Tom Heyman coming very rapidly up behind him. And once again, nice run out of turn number 9 for Lachlan Ward. Just pulls to the inside, thinks better of it, tucks back in behind.
Well, I tell you, Chapman seems to be a little bit better on the brakes than Ward behind him. You could see he pulled out a little bit of a lead as they came down to the bottom of Pirelli corner at turn 8, and did it again, was unable to be overtaken at Yamaha Reggie corner, turn 10.
So Cody Garland just taking advantage of the squabbling that's happening behind at the moment to build a bit of a buffer over his pursuers. 0.7 of a second. Garland back to our second place competitor, Race Chapman. And contact as Lachlan Ward tries to get down the inside of Race Chapman at the top of the hill, turn number 4. A nose-to-tail bump between those two cars, and it's now a freight train in this.
The bikes don't go anywhere near that wide at the top of the hill as they start that run down the hill, as we're out onto the back straight now through Honda and down to the final corner, as the Mustang has a big look up the inside of the Camaro, gets the job done as well.
And
Heyman came through as well.
Heyman taking advantage there, so Lachlan Ward, the door was opened by Josh Anderson, and Tom Heyman took full advantage. Here's a replay of what happened at the top of the hill. Excellent car control from Race Chapman to manage the slide there at turn 4 and make sure that he didn't either lose control or lose any positions out of that one.
Have a future in rally driving after an effort like that. As we're back to the scene of the crime once again, as we come towards the top of the hill at Suzuki corner, through Suzuki, then down through Ducati, and it is the two Cool Drive machines that are holding out yesterday's race victor, Tom Heyman, on board car number 25.
All very talented young drivers in this battle pack, and all from different backgrounds, as we see Josh Anderson getting up the inside of Race Chapman, and Tom Heyman looking to make it 3 wide on the exit of the fishhook. They're going to have to sort this out by the time they get to turn 9. A bit of bumping and grinding there, and the big loser out of all of that was Josh Anderson. He got bundled out of the way, but Tom Heyman, our race 1 and 2 winner, up to second position. He's got just one car left to pass if he wants to keep intact his perfect scorecard for the weekend. It's been a fantastic drive through the field for position 10 on the grid.
And that was a matter of biding his time, wasn't it? And then he found himself in perfect track position there as they went 3 into 1 doesn't go. And then he got the good run out through the back straight, was able to take up the running. Now in second place, still done the fastest lap of the race at 106.0. That last lap, they were back into the mid-107s. And I think that was because of the ferocity of the battle as they made their way down through the bottom of Pirelli and then to the final corners on this circuit. Our race leader currently 1.9 seconds ahead of Heyman in second place. Well, on lap 10, he's only got 2 laps to try and bridge that gap.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's quite going to have time to get there, Tom Heyman. I think that the lap count might just beat him to the finish line, but like I said, very talented drivers in amongst this top 5, all from very different backgrounds. Cody Garland, like I said, also racing in TCR Australia. Tom Heyman, the 17-year-old, has come out of go-karts and been a revelation since he came into this category. Race Chapman's been a consistent performer in Aussie racing cars. Josh Anderson's come out of the online sim racing scene. And we look a bit further back to some of the other battles. This is Courtney Prince duking it out with Anthony DeMoro, who we saw was very slow away at the start And full credit too to Joel Heinrich, who has come from 15th on the grid up to 6th position. That's been a really strong performance from young Joel Heinrich, who was a non-finisher in race 1 yesterday morning after a water pump failure.
I tell you what, Tom Heyman was just completely sideways. You can see he hasn't given up hope of taking the victory, making it another one for his tally for the weekend. But I think our race leader, Cody Garland, with only half a lap to go now on this third race for the Battery World Aussie Race Cars Championship here at Wakefield Park, which will be holding a pretty handy lead at 1.7 seconds. You can see Heyman once again, bottom of the hill there. He was using all of the ripple strip on the inside. The car was sideways. This is where he was sideways once again. But I think you're looking at our race victor for race number 3 there, Lachlan, on screen. Car number 41, Cody Garland.
It's been superb racecraft from Cody Garland, and he's had enough speed to keep his pursuers at bay. So he will add to the tally of different race winners that we've had in the Aussie racing cars so far this season. He will become our 4th different race winner of the year, Cody Garland. But Tom Heyman, by virtue of finishing in 2nd position, will secure pole for the 4th and final race on our program a bit later on today. Josh Anderson coming home in 3rd position ahead of Reece Chapman, Lachlan Ward and Joel Heinrich. A tight drag race there to the line between Anthony Tamoro, Courtney Prince, Ryan Reynolds and Ryland Gray, with those cars completing the top 10, as we see the recovering Cody McKay after that spin on the opening lap, just making up a spot on the run to the checkered flags. So, how do you like your Aussie racing cars, Phil?
I love the Aussie racing cars. Had the privilege of watching them in Darwin many years ago, and also had the privilege of watching Ken Wootton trying to fit inside one in the pits as well. Let's have a look at the results there now. Cody Garland takes the win eventually by 1.2 seconds over Tom Heyman, with Josh Anderson in 3rd, Reece Chapman in 4th, Lachlan Ward in 5th, Heinrich in 6th, as you mentioned, a great race from him, DeMuro in 7th place, Ryan Reynolds in 8th, Courtney Prince in 9th, and Ryland Gray rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, excellent stuff there for the Aussie racing cars, and they will be back a bit later on today with their 4th and final race of the weekend. Let's check out some of the most memorable moments from race number 3. The reverse grid race always produces plenty of entertainment in the Aussie racing cars, and once again, it has delivered for us here at Wakefield Park.
Yeah, plenty of Honda highlights on the first lap with lots of cars spinning. There goes the first one. It wasn't long until we saw the second one. The Ford Coupe just missing that, and it was this one here of Lichtenberger as he went spearing off in reverse straight up the escape road at the top of the hill on lap 1. There was so much action on lap number 1 that Lachlan was surprising there was any cars left.
Lee Bowler held the lead for a little while, but surrendered it with a bit of a brake lock up at the fishhook. That allowed Reece Chapman to get to the front. And then we had our fast drivers charging through from a bit further down the order. Drivers like Lachlan Ward, Tom Heyman and Josh Anderson picking their way through.
Yeah, Tom Heyman set the fastest lap of the race in traffic, making his way through from 10th place on the grid. Of course, courtesy of the reverse grid for the top 10 from yesterday's race. But the top 3 had started to get away, but there were 3 guys pretty hungry to bridge that gap.
A little bit of contact as Lachlan Ward got a bit physical with Reece Chapman. Tom Heyman's excellent racecraft. He just watched what was happening in front of him, saw a little bit of contact at turn number 9, and he said, yep, this is my opportunity. I'm going to make the most of it. He was through to second. The battles continued behind him, but out in front, Cody Garland, exemplary performance in at the number 41 machine. He took the victory, became our 4th Aussie racing car race victor at the season 2022.
Another victory for a Mustang. Plenty of more action coming up here at Wakefield Park. More two-wheeled action coming up with the Michelin Supersport up after this break.
At My Bike Insurance, we are motorcycle specialists. It's all in the name. We understand how important your motorcycle is to you, and because of this, we strive to provide peace of mind cover for you and your motorcycle, no matter where your bike takes you. Visit the My Bike website for a quick and easy quote, or call the My Bike Insurance team on 1300 780 446 today.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
6-time AORC champion and 6-time world champion, Jess Gardiner. Jess, what are you doing here today? Because ASBK is not your normal stomping ground.
It certainly isn't my normal stomping ground, but I do have an R7 in my trailer for Monday. And we are here in the kids arena for the Yamaha Blue Crew Come and Try. So basically we've got kids who have never ridden before,
Like
as
that.
you can see, learning to ride and just trying to get them more involved in the sport and a bit of crossover, and yeah, so it's really fun.
Yeah, so it's all off-road for you. So what are you teaching them here today?
Basically, like, this is our beginner group here, so we're literally teaching them where the brakes are, where the accelerator is, how to stay on, how to turn the corners, and how to have a little bit of fun and make sure they all come back with a smile.
Oh, what a great idea. Fantastic. So introducing the next generation. But tell us about your AORC, your off-road campaign at the moment, because you are currently leading the Women's Championship.
Yeah, most certainly. We just come back from Mackay last week, so yeah, running my Yamaha JGR Ballards off-road team, and my partner Jeremy rides for us, and a young junior girl as well. And yeah, it's been really fun year so far. I've had a very good run. I've swept all 4 rounds so far, so very good start to the season, as it was a bit, I guess, unsure after so long off with COVID, but hey, I'm still here and fighting strong, so it's good.
Well, I'm going to see you out on the track actually on Monday, because we've got our Women's Circuit Racing Academy, which will be fantastic. So great to have you on a road bike out there.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. That's something I've been wanting to do for years now, is get on a road bike, and with obviously the Women's Commission and Yamaha, it's finally been made possible, so really looking forward to a fun day on track.
Good stuff. Well, I want to get off-road. Can I get on one of these?
We can try.
Sounds like a plan. Maddie, I've just stolen your helmet. You've got quite a big head, actually, because it fits me. But you look like a professional. Any tips and tricks for out there?
Maybe just stay strong and just try your best.
Okay, I like those tips. I feel confident now. Thanks very much, Maddie. I'll see you out there. Oh, a bit puffed. Oh my God.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. You did awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pretty good, just except when she ran into the corner. But she did pretty good on her turning and stuff, so probably about 8.5 out of 10.
Well, I'm wondering when my go on the Yamaha little Pee-wees is, because that looked like pretty good fun. Kate obviously having a fair bit of excitement there, as are all of the people here that have packed into Wakefield Park. As usual, a massive crowd building here in Goulburn. And, well, they say it's the nation's spectator circuit, but the spectators, to their credit, always turn out here in big numbers to watch their local hero. This weekend, it could be a pivotal round for Troy Herfoss.
Yeah, really looking forward to see what he can do out there. I've spent a little bit of time with him this weekend, and I tell you what, he is a lot closer to the front than we've seen him in a long time, so I just cannot wait to see how he gels. Like, just a few tenths off pole position, starts up near the front, the most confident I've seen him. I think those injuries that, people keep bringing up are a last gasp, thing. I don't think that's an issue anymore. I think it's more of a setup thing and getting used to the bike, so good job by that team, the Penrite Honda team, and Troy Herfoss.
Anyone that's going on 100-kilometre push bike ride, Steve Martin, is obviously back to a pretty fine level of fitness. Now, speaking of fitness, Michelin Supersport coming up next. Probably a good time to just cover the fact that we have one name that we haven't seen racing for many, many years. 7+ years since Sean Condon last pulled on the set of leathers and competed in a national level event. He's returned this weekend because Tom Edwards has gone overseas. There was a spare Bike Biz Yamaha lying around. Of course, Sean Condon's family owned the Bike Biz dealerships, so he thought, well, there's a spare bike, I may as well get
Maxwell with me here. Now tell me about warm-up, because you weren't so happy about your position on the grid in P3. You know that there's a lot more in this bike. So tell me how the warm-up went, because I know you made a few changes.
Yeah, I guess I was obviously disappointed not only for myself, but even the boys were disappointed with our performance yesterday in qualifying. So I sort of went back to what we knew with the bike, and yeah, come out and warm up, and the bike was pretty good. So it felt a little bit.
Last night as well. Do we have a bit of a race strategy? Can you fill us in?
Yeah, we've been pretty certain on the tyre for a fairly long time. So yeah, we're going to go with the tyre that we've chosen. So there is two options, like there always is. Yeah, we're not going to take the safe option. We're going to throw the dice and try to win the race.
You're not going to tell me. Okay, no worries. Thanks, Wayne. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks, KP. As we can see, the riders starting to make their way back onto the grid now. Yes, I think that's an understatement that Wayne Maxwell wasn't happy with third position on the grid for yesterday's racing, having to play second fiddle to the Yamaha racing team's Crew Halliday and also Mike Jones as they qualified 1-2. The first time Yamaha racing team has qualified 1-2 since 2016 at Sydney Motorsport Park, when it was that man Wayne Maxwell and Glenn Allerton that were 1-2 on the grid. Michelin Supersport getting ready now, and I've got to say that we probably need to keep our eye on one of the real stars of the show from Queensland Raceway, a man who has exploded into the upper echelons of the Michelin Supersport category. He's been in the class for only a year or so, but he's had his good run through the junior classes in Supersport 300. I speak, of course, of the Queenslander, the multiple Australian dirt track champion, John Littris.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible rise he's had. I mean, it normally takes a couple of years to get used to these 600 machines, bearing in mind that we've had shortened seasons and he hasn't had as much time that he would like on that bike. To qualify on the front row of the grid is a pretty impressive job by John Littris. I mean, we think of him as the young 13, 14-year-old when he started in the championship. He's actually 17 years old now, so he's grown up into a young man. Really good to see him out there and performing well. He's found his straps on that number 308 machine. And in this race, starting from the front row of the grid, I think he's feeling fairly confident, especially with the state of the points in this Super Michelin Supersport Championship at the moment.
And also another man on the front row of the grid that we spoke to yesterday, Ty Lynch. Good to see him back. Of course, he had some pretty serious injuries at the beginning of last year. He's recovered from all of those. And even this weekend was seen helping out the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup guys on Thursday afternoon. Track walk and some tips about how to get around this track well. Obviously, he knows how to get it around pretty quickly because he's up on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, well, he's a coach as well. You know, he does like to help out. There's his dad running, and the reason he's running is because they've actually had a crash in the morning warm-up. So Ty Lynch, literally less than half an hour ago, his bike was brought back into the pit box on a trailer. Lynchy is okay at the moment, but as you can see, there was still a little bit of frenetic action there. He's not with his bike at the moment, but be assured that he'll put that out of his mind. He just hit a white line when it was a little bit cooler this morning.
Back down to KP on the grid.
I've got Scott Nicholson here. Those are some pretty funky sunglasses you've got rocking.
Oh, thanks. Thought I better look good for the media grid, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Got to make it special. So you're basically coming off your first win ever, Queensland Raceway. You must be feeling confident coming into today.
Yeah, I got a bit of race pace behind me. Best ever qualifying at an ASPK round. So I've done it from 6th on the grid. I can do it from 4th.
Fantastic stuff. Well, good luck out there.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move over to Tom Bramage. He's been working pretty closely with Wayne Maxwell's crew, and he's been seeing improvements, but things didn't quite pan out for you at round 2. Have you made some changes? We're just saying how Wayne Maxwell's crew, Adrian Monti, are helping you out a little bit. Have they had anything to do with this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. They've been really good. We're on K-Tech suspension, and yeah, we've seen some big improvements, and every time we've made an exit, we've gone faster. So, yeah, quietly confident for this race, and let's see how we go.
Yeah, and how is the bike feeling? Did you have to make a lot of changes from yesterday to today?
No, just a few small tweaks, and the bike was working pretty well. We just need a few more laps, and it'd be interesting to see when we get in the race what it's like.
Okay, great stuff. Good luck out there, Tom. And finally, we've got Tom Drain, who is a rookie in the 600s. How are you finding your third round so far? Because it's really your first year, so there's a lot for you to get your head around.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good race. It's my home round, so looking forward to try and make some progress and get up the front.
And you are a three-time AMA flat track champ. You're heading overseas a little bit later in the year, aren't you?
Yeah, we're heading over to America on the 15th of June, so that should be good to race a round of the American flat track.
Excellent stuff. Well, good luck. You're in P6, so chase that front crew. Back to you, boys. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks very much, KP. That is massive breaking news for Tom Drain here this weekend, that he's heading over to compete in the Lima Half Mile event, which is a very prestigious and quite a large event on the American calendar. So big news in Australians going over there, but he wasn't no stranger to heading over there. Was actually once voted the Youth Rider of the Year in the AMA Championship. So certainly a young man with a lot of talent. And as he mentioned, this is his home round, Steve. He only lives 3 hours up the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good to see what he can do. There's young John Littris, just having a bit of a chat there with his dad, looking pretty cool, calm and collected as always. Ty Lynch has made it onto the bike. Good to see after that incident he had in the morning warm-up. Starts in the front row of the grid.
And you can see John Littris there with the YRD logos. Of course, YRD, who have been the massive supporters of so many of these riders out there on the grid. That's the reason why a lot of these guys can actually go racing, because of that support from YRD. 2 minutes to go until we're ready to go racing here at Wakefield Park Raceway. Let's have a look at the championship points. Ollie Simpson, who is out this weekend with that dislocated shoulder, 72 points. John Littris sits in second on 67. That's going to change after this first race. Ty Lynch in third place on 62. Tom Drain, the young man, the 16-year-old from Forbes that we just spoke to, in fourth place on 60. Then it's Mitch Coon on 55. Tom Bramage on 55. Scotty Nicholson won that race at Queensland Raceway on 54. Senna Adjus is overseas competing in Spain in 8th place. Reece Belling in 9th, and Tarbert Walker rounds out the top 10. But that championship situation is all going to change this weekend with no Ollie Simpson here, and of course a hard-charging race winner from Queensland, Scotty Nicholson, a man on a mission, starting from the second row of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely super tight there. There's just 10 points between about 10 to 15 of those guys as well, so really, really exciting to see.
So not too long now and they'll be heading off on their final warm-up lap before we get underway for the 16-lap Michelin Supersport race. And if you think, geez, that's a lot of laps for a Supersport, it's because Wakefield Park is actually only 2.2 kilometres long. So Superbike race is 20 laps. Supersport race is 16 laps. Steve, you've done some laps around here this weekend. We mentioned it in the track preview earlier on in the show. There is literally no chance to have a rest around this Wakefield Park circuit. It is all action.
Absolutely no chance at all. You might get a half a second on the straight, it feels like, but then you start thinking about this turn one here as you dive in there. It's through the Alpine Stars and into Motul corner. It's like super fast. You've got to be so precise when you get into that corner to make sure you don't have any mistakes. The guys just virtually tip in against that wall and almost wipe that wall. That's how wide you need to be to enter that right-hand corner that you can see in the distance there.
Well, ready to go off on the warm-up lap now. You can see start line Sam Phillips has said. There we go. Just keep your eye on the flag and we'll head off on the final warm-up lap. Just a final mention about Sean Condon on board bike number 26. Starts from pole position. Over 7 years since he last competed at a national level event. By his own admission, all he does these days is sit on an excavator running his Dig Biz excavation company. He's probably 20 kilos overweight, but it hasn't stopped him showing great form this weekend. He starts from pole position with Littris and Ty Lynch joining him on the front row of the grid. Scotty Nicholson, Tom Bramage and Tom Drain on the second row.
Yeah, really interested to see what those guys can do. Dallas Skier there on row 3. Mitch Coon, keep an eye on him. He was really fast in the morning warm-up, equal fastest in fact. Jake Farnsworth there. You've got Reece Belling, Timothy Large from Victoria's in this one too. The Irish Noel Mann and John Quinn are there as well, and let's not forget Declan Carberry on the Suzuki, the only Suzuki in the field.
And also Tarbert Walker, the only Kawasaki in the field, starting out of row number 4 as well. Every time I've seen Jake Farnsworth this weekend, he's had a massive smile on his face. He was saying that this is the best that he's felt on the bike for quite some time. So hopefully he continues that good run of form on board bike number 49 as they come back down, Steve, to take up their positions on the grid. 16-lap Michelin Supersport, race number 1, just about ready to go here at round 3. And as I say, this is a pivotal round, really, isn't it? It's one of those rounds that could set you up for the back end of the championship. And we've got quite a long break now before the next round for the Michelin Supersport guys. There you go, there's Litris. See the steely glow there from under the visor on that AGV helmet. Sean Condon starting out of pole position. Keep your eye on Ty Lynch on board bike number 85 as well. He's been doing a lot of laps training over there at South Australia. So we're ready to go racing. Michelin Supersport. Good start. Supersport riders are go. Oh, big wobble there from the third row of the grid. I think that was Dallas-Skier. And it's Litris that takes the lead down in towards turn one. Lynch up the inside. And we've got Tom Bramage up into third place. Oh, that's Tom Drain. He's gone down early on board bike number 59. Just out of the second corner, the Motul corner, just slipped off the inside of the machine. Looked like he may have just tried to get on the gas, maybe a cold tyre. As the field makes their way up through Suzuki at the top end of the hill. But it is certainly Litris that leads from Ty Lynch and Tom.
Rain looked like he might have just had the wind knocked out of his socks there, but nevertheless the right call to stop this one. You can see Tom Bramage with his hand up, Mitch Kuhn as well there. Not sure that the two leaders have actually realised that there's a red flag by the big black line that Ty Lynch left into the Yamaha Revjahart corner, the final corner, turn 10. Yeah, but that's the nature of this circuit. It's that busy that you don't have time to take your eyes off the track because you're getting to where you're heading to in an awful hurry. You know, there's no rest, there's no time to think ahead, really. You've got to be on top of the ball. But they'll head back to the start-finish line now. Just make sure that everything's all right. Looks like they've already picked up young Tom. So good to see. The other thing is that we've got a good mix of tyres in this field as well. We've got Pirellis, we've got Michelins, and we've also got Dunlops, and all of them have had some pretty good results so far this year. Yeah, they certainly have, and I mean that's one of the bonus points of our championship. As the guys line back up, they won't want to hold them on the line for too long, that's for sure, because the conditions are pretty cool out there. So everyone will be pretty keen to get underway in a hurry. One of the bikes in the background there, that's one of our fallers. Is he going to rejoin the grid, or it looks like no, he's coming into the pit lane. Right, the teams are coming out to put the tyre warmers back onto the machines. So hopefully the delay won't be too long here and we can get back underway for the Michelin Supersport category. Yeah, they've made the right choice here though. Any time that you stop in cold conditions like this, you do need to get those tyres and the tyre warmers on straight away. Tyre blankets, if they've got those as well, as we have a look at the AMX replay of that start, Phil. You can see there, it was Dallas-Skier who got a bit of a wheelie there, but keep an eye on the red bike, number 58, Tom Drain, as he tips in there, just got on the gas slightly early on a little bit of a lean angle, perhaps a little bit tight, and he's tipped himself off. He was lucky, really. Here's another angle of that. You can just see there about 7th in that group. Small little off. Lucky, just got clipped by Mitch Kuhn slightly. I think he was just slightly winded there. Yeah, and Dallas-Skier did a pretty good job to try and miss him as well. That's a replay of Tarbin Walker going down there on the AMX Superstores replay. That was Michelin corner. And Tarbin Walker unfortunately put the Kawasaki down. It looked like he was able to get straight back up, get back on the bike and head back around to take up his position on the grid. Yeah, so what I stated at the start of the show when I was talking to Kate was we've been racing in hot weather now for quite a while. You know, if you think back to Tail and Bend last year, we've been hot right up to now. So these guys have got to get out of that mindset of the hot tyres. Well, let's head back down to Kate on the grid.
Yeah, I've got Ty Lynch here, qualified in P3. We've got an excellent start right there.
Yeah, look, it was a fantastic start for us. You know, being second place on the beginning lap is massive here. We're just trying to sort of aim to get that good start and let it flow, but unfortunately there's been a red flag, so we'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, good luck out there.
Cheers, thank you.
Let's check in with the pole sitter, Condon. As you mentioned, fat-shaming him there, Phil. 20 kilos over. Howdy, how was your start just there?
Terrible. I actually forgot a little bit. I'm like, do I go if the guy goes green or red or off? And I got confused there for a second, but yeah, no, at least we get to have another go.
Exactly. This is round 2. This is perhaps the race for you. This is a really warm welcome back.
Yeah, thanks heaps.
But do you have some nerves? Because really you haven't lined up on the grid for a very long time. So where the butterflies going?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was nerves but excitement all at the same time. I'm just happy to be back on the grid.
Well, this could be the sign of a return. Who knows? Crazier things have happened this year.
100%. Thanks.
Thanks, mate. Good.
Actually had to carry you to the bike because you were so injured, got on the bike and did a 58-second lap round here on the Superbike. The guy can ride, but to have 7 years off, come out here, the state of this class, how good everyone is going, and to put that bike on pole is a massive effort.
Well, you stated it there, he's a class rider and he always has been a class rider, and once you get to a certain level, it takes a long time for that to drift away. So, you know, he's had a couple of rides on that 600. The 600s are probably easier in some ways to ride than the 1,000 that he's been used to in the past. So, you know, there's no pressure on him to perform. He's there to have a bit of fun. So,
and of all of the circuits, this is the one where the Supersport times are closer to the Superbike than any other circuit that we go to as well. The nature of the circuit sort of helps that out a fair bit, but a Michelin Supersport machine would be a cracking bike to ride around here at Wakefield Park.
Oh, absolutely. Really, you know, it'd be so much fun there.
Back down to KP.
Got Mitch Kuhn here. Mitch, I hear you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous before I race, but after that red flag, it's really needed to go. But we're going to be ready. We've got 3 minutes till we go. We're going to hold it and push to the end of that race.
Exactly. So what are the plans for out there? What's the strategy going in now that we've had a bit of a disruption?
Another good start. I had a good start then, unfortunately with the red flag, but another good start. Stay with the boys, make a few overtakes, and then touch that podium.
Yeah, well, you look like a rock and roll star in this outfit and helmet, so good luck out there.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Mitch. Back to you guys.
Thanks, KP. Well, I think his plan, Steve, is to get the race done as quickly as he possibly can so he can head off and relieve himself at the end of this.
Well, the problem with that is if he gets on the podium, he will have more time to wait, won't he?
So let's have a look at the AMX Superstores replay of that crash once again involving Tom Drain at Michelin Corner Turn 2. You can see he's just got on the gas there. The back end of the 59 machine has come round, and even a 22-time state dirt track champion couldn't save that one.
No, you could just see there, Phil, that he literally got on the mid-corner speed a little bit more. It doesn't look like much, but he didn't get, obviously the tyres are cold. He carried like half a kilometre an hour more mid-corner speed than the people around him there, trying to make up that little bit of extra time, and it just didn't work out well for him. If he'd had been 3 or 4 laps into the race, I reckon he would have got away with that.
There he is, the big gun, Johnny Littress. I actually noticed someone there with a big gun John Littress shirt on in the crowd. So obviously he's got some fans that have made their way down from Queensland to watch him here this weekend.
There's Ty Lynch with that YRD prepared machine, the 727 Moto, helping him out, young South Australian.
Actually had the opportunity to interview Marcus Holt from the Grinning Dingo, who saw the Grinning Dingo sticker there on Ty Lynch's Arrow RX-7 helmet. It was actually being prepared by Marcus when I went over and spoke to him. Got a chance to have a look at the graphics, custom designed graphics on that helmet. It is absolutely sensational. So if you're down there in the pits or wandering around at any of the rounds here, make sure you get up and see if you can have a close-up look at some of these riders' helmets. Some of the designs, Steve, are absolutely fantastic, and a lot of them fully custom painted.
Yeah, absolutely. They do look sensational, and the riders do take a lot of time in designing their helmets. Just so that they look pristine when they're out on track.
Also, he's part of the impressive 727 Moto team as well, that, of course, running Jed Metcher and Brock Pearson in the Alpine Stars Superbike class. So we're good to see that team is not only just concentrating on the one class, but supporting young up-and-coming riders in Michelin Supersport as well. Weather is certainly cleared here at Wakefield Park. Look at the view. It's actually quite a nice day out there now, Steve, considering that we've had a little bit of wind and it's been a bit chilly here most of the weekend. Probably the most pleasant day so far this weekend that we've seen.
Yeah, these guys will be wanting, as they head off on their warm-up lap for a quick restart, they'll be wanting a temperature just to creep up a little bit there. You can just see Ty Lynch just taking his time off the start line there so that he can absolutely go flat out and arrive at the line. As all the other bikes are already set to go, he wants to have his tyres as warm as possible there, which is why he just took off nice and slowly there, so he can really rip into it and get to the line and not wait. That's part of the strategy that these guys play. Some people like to get there in a hurry, but I wouldn't be doing that, that's for sure, not today. You want to get there at the last minute. As they head through Ducati corner at the top there, Michelin as well. this is the part of the track you need to be careful of. You don't want to run anywhere on the white lines up there at the moment because, you know, a little bit of dew. We've had dew overnight. It makes it nice and, you know, slippery for sure. As they line up for the start.
Getting ready for the restart on Michelin Supersport now as we make our way down to the front of the grid. You can see Scotty Nicholson is already back there on board bike number 39. Lynch pulls in on board bike number 85, as does Littress on the 308 machine. Sean Condon taking up his position on pole. So ready to go for Michelin Supersport. Green flag at the back of the grid. Red flag leaves the front. Michelin Supersport. Race 1 is go, with Supersport riders making their way down through Alpine Stars corner turn 1. And once again it is Littress and Lynch that have got a fantastic start, with Scotty Nicholson up into third place on the 39 machine as they make their way through Motul and up towards the top of the hill at Dunlop. Just looking to see where our pole sitter is. Looks like Condon is back in about 4th position with the Bear Bird machine of Tom Bramage right behind him, bike number 44. They make their way through. It looks like Mitch Kuhn has got a sensational start. He's up into about 6th position on board bike number 58. So keep your eye on the Queenslander as they make their way down towards the Pirelli corner at the bottom of the hill now. It is still Littress. Big move up the inside there, it looked like, from Scott Nicholson. Wasn't able to get the job done and sitting back in 3rd place.
Yeah, what a start to the race that was. Incredible stuff by Johnny Littress to get that perfect start. Ty Lynch in 2nd. We knew that he was happy with that, but look at Scott Nicholson already taking a dive up the inside there. Sean Condon, who didn't get the start right last time out, sits in 4th position, and he's right where he needs to be. So pretty impressive stuff by him, but I'll tell you what, from 4th on a track like this, 15 laps doesn't seem like a long way through, but it is a long, long way around here.
How was the desperation from Ty Lynch at turn 10 to make sure that he stayed in position?
Oh, that's Condon.
No, I think it's Tom Bramage. Bramage has gone down.
Another one down.
Another one's gone down. That looks like one of the Irish racing team riders.
Yep.
So it's either Noel Marn or John Quinn that's gone down as well at turn 1, or is it turn 2, Motul corner? No, now we've got Scotty Nicholson gone down. So it looks like there must be some sort of problem because we've got 3 riders going down within the space of a couple of corners. We go back to the lead now. It is bike number 308, Littress and Ty Lynch that have got a pretty handy lead over 3rd place, Sean Condon.
You know, it's literally, it was Noel Marn that went down, rider number 10, so unfortunately that's the end of his day too. But you look at Ty Lynch, he is tipping that in, really trying to make up some time under brakes there.
And up into what would be now, I think, 4th place or 5th place is the ever-smiling Jake Farnsworth, who, as we said, every time we've seen him this weekend, he's had a massive smile on his face. He'll be smiling even harder now with his current position in this race. Race still being led by Littress on 308. But you can see plenty of riders just walking away from the gravel trap at Motul corner turn 2.
Yeah, I mean, we just spent 5 or 10 minutes talking about how this race, at this track with these temperatures, you need to hold down. There's Bramage on the Amex replay. He's gone down, lost the front. Then he's had to get out of the way. Noel Marn has followed him in. Didn't quite catch that. But you can see he certainly wasn't expecting that. That's quite early in the corner, so that looks like it could have been a front end lose. Then Scotty Nicholson just goes to tip in at the top of the track there. That's up near Suzuki Ducati corner. And unfortunately for him, that's the end of his run as well. There's another replay of that through Michelin.
Did you realise, though, too, the first thing he did was run over to his bike, pick it up, because he knows that he needs to get some points in this race, because he is certainly in championship contention with the way the Michelin Supersport Championship is going at the moment. We've got Littress on 308 with Ty Lynch camped on the ducktail of the 308 machine as they make their way down towards the Motul corner turn 2. But look who's just creeping up behind, stalking these riders in front. It is the man that hasn't raced for 7 years, Sean Condon, on board bike number 26. A bike that we've seen in action plenty of times this year. That was in the hands of Tom Edwards, who is this weekend racing at Aston in the World Supersport Championship. Sean Condon's come out of retirement to keep that bike out there on the grid.
Well, he's doing a pretty impressive job too, isn't he, to be hanging it to the two young guys out the front there. So super impressive, Sean Condon. Of course, he's done a lot of laps over here, but a long time ago. Nice tight line there from the man in third position too. And he's looking pretty comfortable out there. When I look at Ty Lynch's bike and even John Littress there, you can just see it moving around a lot, especially in the braking over the bumps there. Ty Lynch sideways again, but Condon just there in thirds, looking a lot smoother. Further on in the race, when Tyware comes into it, it's probably going to work out better for the man in third now, Condon.
Well, it's going to be very hard for Condon to try and get past Ty Lynch in that final corner, simply because he's so late on the brakes and the bike is so sideways that he doesn't leave a lot of real estate available to try and put the 26 machine into. As we come up through Dunlop now towards the top of the hill. Oh, Condon, he nearly lost it there. You can see he's almost slipped off the inside of the bike as he went through the corner, but he managed to gather it back up. His foot was fully off the peg of the bike of his machine.
Look at Ty Lynch there, a little bit of mid-corner speed, maybe into the fishhook. He's lining his move up, and there he goes up the inside. Can he hold it? Does he run tight? Littress back on the inside.
That's exactly what you and Troy Herfoss spoke about before. You get the braking done, but you've got to make sure you can keep the bike on a tight line. Littress almost let him through, knew that there was no way he was going to make it. Ty Lynch went through the inside, but then ran wide, and Littress came back into the lead as our top three come round now to complete 5 laps of this 16 or 15 lap journey, courtesy of the restart.
Here's the AMX replay of that again. Look at that. Condon just loses the front there. He was so lucky to get away with that. And then sideways in, Ty Lynch, that was incredible. Again, runs wide and gives John Littress the line up the inside and retakes the lead.
Well, Ty Lynch is obviously very happy and comfortable with the setup of that machine, the way he's able to just throw it around with almost gay abandon, but knowing that he can get the bike back online. And the bottom of the hill here, it's one of Troy Herfoss's favourite overtaking manoeuvres. It's a place where you've got to be deep and late on the brakes, and that's exactly what Ty Lynch is showing at the moment on board the 727 machine, bike number 85.
And Ty once again just taking that tight line there, but John Littress is looking really smooth out on track at the moment and commanding. Do you know what I mean? Like the other guys have just sat there behind him and they've tried, but Littress, even though he's probably one of the youngest of the two out there, he's shown a lot of experience.
Well, as you said before, he's grown into a young man now. He's 17 years of age, but he has really come of age in more ways than one, hasn't he? The way that he's riding that Supersport machine at the moment, he doesn't just look like a Supersport 300 rider that stepped up to Michelin Supersport. He actually looks like he's meant to be in this class. The way he's able to get the bike out of the corner, tuck in behind the screen, and then head up through the Dunlop, with opening up to get a little bit of a gap now over Ty Lynch in second place, and Condon still sitting there in third.
Noel Belling, we've got your Belling's head mechanic. Now tell us about what you think of the track and why people are coming on.
Because we had the red flag and we were stopped for a second time, people's tyre temperatures dropped, pressures dropped, and this track, in a cooler morning like this morning, loses a little bit of grip. And when they went back out, because of those two factors, that's why so many bikes have gone down, I'd suggest.
Great, thank you, Noel.
All right, cheers, thank you.
Thanks, KP. Good to hear from Reese's mechanics there. And when you have a look there, Reece Belling is currently sitting in 6th position on board bike number 61.
Mitch Kuhn doing a good job there in 4th position too, just off the back of this group, but nevertheless coming on strong. It's real good progression for young Mitch.
I reckon that would have to be his best ever result.
100%.
In the Michelin Supersport category, if he can keep the bike on track and finish in 4th position. Currently about 7.7 seconds behind our race leader, as these top three have really broken away. They've been showing pace all weekend, and no surprise to see them at the front of the grid battling this one out as we make our way through and up towards Honda now. There's a very quick change of direction there from the left-hand corner at Pirelli through the right-hander at Honda. Down into Yamaha Revshart corner once again. Ty Lynch sideways on the brakes. So a lot of confidence in the setup of that machine as he makes his way out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. We are about to complete 8 laps of the 15-lap journey, so we're over half race distance now, and Condon just looks to be stalking the two riders in front. He's just set the fastest lap. He set the fastest lap of the race on lap 3 of 59.261. That's a fair way off the 58.4 lap record currently held by Brock Pearson.
It is, but the conditions at the moment, we've already seen they're a little bit sketchy. Cold conditions not boding well to the tyre grip out there at the moment. We've had a lot of fallers. that would also be on the minds of these guys, you know what I mean? Like, as we said at the start of this race, this championship can be anyone's. So these guys, what they've got in their mind is like, that's your podium there at the moment if nothing goes wrong. So what do? Do you take the points and move yourself up in the championship, or do you take a big risk? John Littris is under a lot of pressure at the moment, and the two guys behind him look pretty comfortable sitting there. I mean, you watch Ty Lynch ride, I feel that he is going to take a risk.
Well, you can see there, it looked like Johnny Littris's foot, actually, his right-hand foot slipped off the peg as he made his way out of the final corner. Turn 10, Yamaha revs your heart and makes his way through Motul now. So he's got back on track. It hasn't phased the 17-year-old from Queensland too much. Ty Lynch's bike really starting to move around through Dunlops as it tries to ride over the very bumpy piece of tarmac there on the entry into that corner. And the bumps, Steve, are right where you're trying to tip the bike into the corner.
Oh, they certainly are. I mean, it's a real hard track to set up for. You need the plushness for the bumpiness of the entry of some of the corners, but you also need real stiff suspension for the braking, especially heading into the final Yamaha race. Probably a little soft in the front. There's always
last lap they were all in the minutes, but on the last one they're back into the 59s. 59.91 for Littris, a 59.8 for Lynch, and a 59.7, the fastest of our top three. The man sitting in third place, the pole sitter, Sean Condon, on board bike number 26, the Bike Biz Machine. As we mentioned, he's running his own little excavation company called Dig Biz. Must be something with the Condon family that everything has to be called Biz at the end of it.
Why not? And why wouldn't you? Well, it's working for him at the moment, and I'm sure that it may be at the end of this race, Sean Condon doing the Biz. Let's see.
I was just about to say the same thing. As Littris comes through Honda corner, still maintaining this lead, a very slender lead by 0.2 of a second over Ty Lynch on board bike number 85.
I mean, Condon even now looks like the most economical of these guys. Like, he really does look like he's just sitting there. John Littris takes his foot off that peg again. But not sure why he's doing that. There's no reason to do that at all. Very, very interesting move there by Littris.
Back down to KP.
I've got Frank Pons as Sean Condon's crew chief here. Tell us, Frank, what was his approach going in and strategy today? Because this is quite a wild race out there, and it's been dramatic so far.
Yes. We always thought we'd play it by ear to start with. We didn't know how fast he was going to be. He's obviously going pretty quick. So this morning we figured out the Dunlop tyre seemed to last well. So we just happy to sit where he is now and see what happens, see where their good points are, their bad points are, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Excellent stuff.
For now, we're just happy to sit there.
Thanks so much, Frank.
Okay, thanks.
Frank Pons is an absolute legend, isn't he, Phil? He's been around the racing scene for a long, long time, and a very, very handy man to have in your corner. So now we know the game plan of the 26 machine. That is to sit there, and as they were having that interview, I did notice that Sean Condon did have a little bit of a look out of the fish hook, the Pirelli corner there, at diving up the inside. And you can see how tight he takes lines. He has got seeming to have a little bit more drivability or manageability of the bike.
Yeah, we've seen so far this year that Tom Edwards has had some great success and been able to ride that Bike Biz Machine with exceptional pace. Now it is Sean Condon trying to use that pace to try and find his way past the very sideways Ty Lynch on board bike number 85. The South Australian doing a great job there, holding down second place at the moment. But he's coming under pressure from the New South Welshman, who has a bit of a look up the inside, manages to slide the Bike Biz Machine up the inside, but Ty Lynch, once again, is not going to give that place up without a very serious fight. In fact, he was less sideways than what I've seen him for the last couple of laps as Littris continues to lead.
Absolutely, and you could see there by the line that Ty Lynch took, he's like, this is my line, I'm taking this line. Bang, tight on the inside. He's not really given Condon any real opportunities to whip by. You know, he didn't give it all there. He didn't leave room, which he's not entitled to do either. So Condon there got his nose chopped off, perhaps he did have a little bit more corner speed there, but he's going to have to try and find a more desperate line than that.
It's going to have to be a good run through Michelin down the hill now and try and set himself up for an overtaking manoeuvre as they enter the Pirelli corner. You can see he closes up on the brakes to Sean Condon, but he can't find a way past Ty Lynch. And at the same time, Littress has pulled out a bike length or two. As you can see, the bike there, the front wheel wasn't on the ground as he managed to change directions for Honda as we come down to the penultimate area of the end of the circuit here on the penultimate lap. They will get the last lap board at the completion of this lap, Steve Martin. One more 2.2 kilometre, 10 lap journey to go. 10 corner journey around here to go for this final lap. And it is Littress that leads from Lynch and Condon. He's going to have to make a move now if he wants to take this win.
Well, this is going to be an absolute cracker of a last lap. We're going to see who's hungry, but Littress seems to have pulled the pin a little bit, and Ty Lynch, there's a couple of bike lengths there. Completely different line there from Condon. Again, trying to be desperate to find a way around now. Can he nip up the inside here? He can't do it as they head down the hill into that fish hook. Littress with a pretty handy lead around this circuit at the moment, but Ty Lynch is very, very good into the Pirelli corner.
Yep, on the brakes we come down to Pirelli. There's no way through there for Condon. You can see that Lynch had the line covered. He needs to cover it again, and he needs to also watch very closely at up the inside at turn 10, the final corner, because the Bike Biz machine will be trying to rev his heart out and get up the inside. He tries it. Littress is into the corner. He's safely through there. Condon comes through, but can Ty Lynch get into the slipstream and drag him to the line? It is Johnny Littress on the 308 machine. The big gun has brought out the big guns and takes race one for the Michelin Supersport. Condon takes second. Ty Lynch up into the podium positions as well in third place. But it was that one, a great race there for John Littress on board bike number 308. As we watch the rest of the field coming through now, it should be Mitch Kuhn should cross the line in fourth position. Jake Farnsworth will take fifth. And crossing the line in sixth position will be Reece Belling. Let's keep our eye on where Scott Nicholson will actually finish, because he should finish, Steve, I think, in 10th place and get some championship points, which is very important come the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Bravo to Scott for getting back on that bike. Obviously, it's got some sort of damage to it, but he was toughed it out, got back on the Michelin shop machine and brought it over the line, got the points. Valuable points in 10th position there. One lap down, but nevertheless, that's the sort of guts and determination you need.
Littress takes the win from Condon by 0.506 of a second. Ty Lynch in third. Mitch Kuhn, that's his best ever result in the Michelin Supersport class, in fourth position, with Jake Farnsworth in fifth, Reece Belling in sixth, Tim Large in seventh place, Declan Carberry in eighth, John Quinn in ninth, and Scott Nicholson rounds out that top 10 with very, very important championship points. Unfortunately, we had a few fallers. Tom Bramich and Noel Mann, both of those in the restart, and also, of course, on board bike, the early race crash for the young man from Forbes. Anyway, we'll have a quick break and back here to hear from our top three.
To every corner, losing yourself on the open road. There's no feeling like it. The howl of the wind in your ears, feeling every vibration, every inch of the tarmac. Just ride.
Engine has had a paradigm shift to achieve a totally new mission.
AMMF can help power your passion. We offer flexible, tailored finance solutions to motorcycle and marine customers Australia-wide. Our motorcycle and marine specialists can help you finance your motorcycle, scooter, personal watercraft or boat package with quick and easy approvals, fixed rate terms, flexible finance options and competitive rates. Call AMMF on 1300 263 123 or visit the website today.
Welcome back to Wakefield Park. It is time now to head back down to the podium. KP is with our top three on the AMF Superstores podium for Michelin Supersport.
In P3, we have Ty Lynch. Congratulations, you qualified in P3 and you finished in P3. Tell us about your race.
Look, it was a tough race. I was behind Johnny pretty much the entire time, and Sean got me last second in the last corner. So it was a really good race. Massive shout out to my team, 727 Moto Racing, and the boys at YRD. They built me a bike in under an hour after I had a bit of a mishap in warm-up. So yeah, they did a fantastic job. Bike felt good. Pirelli tyres hooking up awesome. So yeah, stoked.
Big congratulations, Ty. Well done. Good luck for the next race.
No worries. Thanks heaps, guys.
And in P2, Sean Condon, wow, what a performance out there for your first race in a very long time.
Yeah, thanks. No, I felt good out there. Doing your own thing, so, but I felt really good. The bike was really good. You know, I'd just like to thank Bike Biz, Rod Sporer for Spanner and the tools this week, Frank Pons, and just the friends and family, everyone behind me.
Fantastic. Well done, Sean. Good luck for the next race.
Thank you.
And in P1, a huge congratulations to John Littress. Wow, congratulations. You really brought the momentum from your best results ever in round 2, so well done.
Yeah, thanks. And it's been really good. Like, finally get my first win. I've been in the class for a year and a bit, you know, so it's really good to finally get a win. And yeah, good at front. Just can't thank everyone that helps me behind me. Family, just AGV helmets, TCX boots, Pirelli tyres, Kibble Yamaha, Silent Victus motorcycles. Just everyone that helps me. Sorry if I forgot you, but yeah, just everyone. Thank you so much.
Well done. Congratulations. Good luck for the next race.
Cheers. Thank you.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks very much, KP. Time to look now at the Honda highlights of Michelin Supersport race number 1. You see the big wheel stand there from Dallas-Gear. Meant that he didn't get off the line well, but it was red flags very shortly after, because unfortunately the young man from Forbes, Tom Drain, got all sideways out of Motul corner turn 2 and hit the ground pretty hard.
Yeah, there was a lot of cold tyre incidences in this race, wasn't there? There's another angle of the number 2 machine going down there as well. So that brought out the red flag and there was a restart. Johnny Littress got off to the perfect start. Scott Nicholson was in the fray at the start, moved himself up to the 3rd position, and Sean Condon was down at 4th. He needs to improve those starts for later on in the day.
Yeah, Tom Bramich unfortunately went down at Motul corner turn 2, and he was quickly followed into the gravel trap by one of the Irish racing team riders as well, Noel Mahon, as he crashed out. Only 3 corners later, at the top of the hill at Ducati corner, and it was bike number 39, Scott Nicholson, that went down, leaving these 3 with a massive gap back to 4th place, with Littris leading, but Ty Lynch attempting to get past.
Yeah, he did. He led briefly, didn't he? But up the inside, John Littris wanted that win more than anyone. Up the inside, Sean Condon was trying everything he could, finally got past on that last lap.
Littris was in a good position though, and took his first victory in the Michelin Supersport class, but no stranger to victory here at Wakefield Park. He has won 6 times in smaller classes, so Littris adds another excellent result to his 2022 Championship Challenge. And let's have a look at those revised championship points now, and our new championship leader is Johnny Littris on board bike number 308. 92 points ahead of Ty Lynch on 80. Mitch Kuhn up into 3rd place with 72 points, tied with Ollie Simpson, who is out this weekend with that dislocated shoulder. Nicholson up to 5th, Drain in 6th, Belling in 7th, Bramich in 8th, Senna Adjus back to 9th place, of course, overseas now, and John Quinn rounds out that top 10.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff by all of those guys, but just look at how tight it is there. Tarpon Walker, he had a good one too, and Noel Mann unfortunately didn't add to his total, did he?
How important are those points for Scott Nicholson that he fell off, got back on the bike, showed the desperation needed to make sure he got points in this race. He realised a few people had crashed out, that he had to get to the checkered flag, and that's exactly what he did. Could be very important come the end of November. Well, we said earlier on in the telecast that Wakefield Park is known as the spectator circuit for good reason, Steve Martin. Look at the crowd. They are lining the fences here at Wakefield Park. They've come to see some excellent ASBK racing action, but I think a fair few of them may have also come to see their hometown hero, Troy Herfoss. He may not live in Goulburn anymore, but he will always be their champion.
The weather may be hot, it may not be hot here, Phil, but I'll tell you what, the action on track will be. That's the other reason they're here today, because you can see it's a spectator track. You can see the whole track from up on that hill as well. So, you know, you get to be part of the action. You're close to the action. It's a great place to come and spectate if you haven't been to one of these events before. Pretty centrally located within Australia as well. So it's a great asset to Goulburn.
Well, it also is, but the other thing is that this event alone brings nearly $3 million into the local economy. So what a great place to come. We know it's been difficult times with COVID lately, so good to see the ASBK paddock continuing to run events in regional areas as they like to do. Of course, we do go to a lot of regional places: Phillip Island, Wakefield Park in Goulburn, Warwick in Queensland, for Morgan Park as well. So yeah, it's good to see the circuit. Or the circuits in regional areas getting plenty of love from Motorcycling Australia. Getting ready now for the next race on the Dunlop Supersport 300 category, and this championship is led by Cameron Dunker on 134 points from Henry Snell on 131, and James Jacobs on board the Kawasaki had a great race, a great round at Queensland Raceway at the last round, moved him up into 3rd position ahead of Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39. He was a championship challenger earlier on and also has taken several race victories in this class. And Teo Aksu is also coming here on a rich vein of form as well. Looking forward to some really, really close action from the Dunlop Supersport 300 riders.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a big one. Teo Aksu, as you said, one to watch. He's been near the front all weekend, so really looking forward to it.
So the Nelsons are on row. And it's 2 or 3 of the grid there. Of course, no relation, but both of them having some really good results so far this year. Glenn Nelson, some of the racing between Glenn Nelson and Cameron Dunker at Queensland Raceway was absolutely sensational. That continued along yesterday. Cameron Dunker was qualified on pole position with Jonathan Nalus and Teo Aksu joining him on the front row of the grid. But on the second row of the grid, it's almost a full Nelson with Glenn Nelson, Hayden Nelson and Liam Waters rounding out row 2.
Yeah, James Jacobs on the Kawasaki there in row 3. Really looking forward to see what he can do, because he's shown some pretty good pace. Brodie Galworth as well there on row 3. Cameron Swain, a guy to keep an eye out because he goes very well. Henry Snell in 10th position is another one. Marianos Nicholas, he's had a little bit of trouble this weekend, but you know, he lines up there as well on row 4 with Jai Ressa behind him. Sam Pizzetta, one to watch, the young South Australian too, and one of the other Simpson brothers, Jordan Simpson, the only of the 3 that are here left on the track this weekend.
Well, and also too, great to see 2 former champions in the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup in Cameron Swain and Marianos Nicholas in this field as well, just showing that you step up from the smaller categories into Supersport 300 and continue that good form that they showed in the junior classes.
Quick welcome back to Jamie Port too. Good to see him out on track.
So race number 1 yesterday saw Cameron Dunker take the win by .005 over Glenn Nelson, with James Jacobs on board the Kawasaki Connection machine making his way up onto the podium as well. So good result for Freddie. But looks like position number 3 on the grid is vacant.
No, he's coming. Teo Aksu's just
there he is,
coming right now, put himself on that front row spot.
Doing the Casey Stoner, getting the last position back to the grid. Green flag's at the back, red flag leaves the front. We're ready to go racing. Dunlop Supersport 300. Supersport 300 is go. Good start there from Dunker on the front row of the grid, starting out of pole position on board bike number 3. And he should lead them as they get down towards turn 1. No, he doesn't. He's actually slipped back into the pack. He's trying to go up the inside of Teo Aksu, and he's lost a lot of drive and momentum. Has a quick look over his shoulder as we make our way up through AMMF. It is Jonathan Nalos on board bike number 20 that leads, and it is Hayden Nelson on 279 that has moved his way up into second position. Aksu in third, Cameron Dunker in fourth place, it looks like. There's James Jacobs on board the 16 machine. With a bit of work to do. He started from third place, or third row of the grid, but finished in third place in yesterday's race. Got to make his way forward with a lot of fast Supersport 300 machines in front of him.
We just saw Cooper Roundtree there using all the track and a little bit more on the first lap as well. So he sits back there in the pack at about 10th position at the moment. But it is Jonathan Naylor who leads on the first lap. Good riding by Hayden Nelson too. He's really starting to make his way forward in this Supersport Championship, the Dunlop Supersport Championship, isn't he?
Yeah, looks like Cameron Swain's in a pretty big battle there with Liam Waters, so keep your eye on board bike number 26, the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup champion from last year. We make our way across the line. He's still Naylor leading, but no, up the inside goes Cameron Dunker and Glenn Nelson on board, Hayden Nelson on board bike number 279.
A little bit of a gap back to Glenn Nelson there, probably about a second, so he really needs to knuckle down and try and close that down. But as expected, Cameron Dunker has done a brilliant job to get himself back up there into that lead of the race. Of course, started on pole position, didn't get the best of starts, but he's where he thinks he deserves to be at the moment. No jump starts.
Down towards the bottom of the hill at Pirelli now, it is still Cameron Dunker that leads on board bike number 3. Nelson right behind Nalos in third.
It's really critical, even on these 300s, to try and hold it pinned through there. You can pretty much hold it pinned, but if you back off a millimetre because you hit a bump or something, you're going to get slipstreamed by 3 or 4 guys. You can already see them starting to line up, and that's Nolas down.
Yeah, JJ just got up the inside and unfortunately lost the front there. You can see he's not real happy with himself. He needs to get over to his bike and get on there and so hopefully continue on in this race and try and get some championship points. Having a look now, I think it is still Nelson sitting in second, and it will be Teo Aksu up into third place on board bike number 91. You can see it moving around over the bumps there, and he made his way through. Let's have a look at the AMX Superstores replay here. You can see Nalos get up the inside, tips the bike in, the front end just goes. A great effort there from Hayden Nelson on the 279 bike to actually avoid the stricken Ninja 400 of Nalos as it slid to the outside of Yamaha Revshahat corner, and unfortunately a long walk back to the pits.
Yeah, he just held too much front brake on into the middle of that apex there. Not enough heat in the tyres, and bang, it was all over. He tried, he got desperate, but the walk of shame as we saw back to the pits.
Nelson doesn't seem to be making any inroads on this lead group of 3 we've got at the moment, even though he's managed to do the fastest lap of the race. On the last lap, there was literally nothing between the lap times. This seems to be maybe closing down a fraction. There's a good battle here between Liam Waters on the 181 machine. Marianis Nicholas in there as well, along with Cameron Swain. So Marianis has done a good job to make his way forward from his grid position on board bike number 46.
Yeah, he started from 11th position, so he's made up a lot of places for that, Marianis, and I expect him to do that because he's that sort of rider that does work his way forward. But the man of the moment, the man that's handling all the pressure is Cameron Dunker, but Hayden Nelson's having probably the ride of his life that I've seen so far.
Yeah, he looks like he's putting a fair amount of pressure on the young man from the Newcastle region as he makes his way through Ducati corner and then down the hill through Michelin. Very fast, a very deceptive corner, that corner here at Wakefield Park. Very fast, and you tuck that run down the hill. It gets slightly off camber as well. We go into that big braking area at Pirelli, one of Troy Herfoss's favourite overtaking manoeuvres. We've seen a few already tried to be exercised here this weekend. But no way past for the 2 riders behind our current race leader, Cameron Dunker, board bike number 3.
I reckon
Nelson has actually closed up a bit on this lap.
That's what I'm saying. I reckon Nelson has started to close up. Well, that's what I was about to say, Phil. If he can just get into that slipstream, I reckon he's in that slipstream zone now. That will pull him up onto the back of those guys in front. He's obviously got the pace to run the speed that the front three are running. Hayden Nelson looking for a way around the outside, can't do it, cuts to the inside. Bumpy through there.
Plenty of bumps there. You can see almost 2 wheels off the ground for our race leader, Cameron Dunker, on board bike number 3. Looks like James Jacobs has also made his way up into 5th position. That is the leader of that second group of riders, as I think we can say now that Nelson is almost onto the back of them. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap of 105.5 for Nelson on board bike number 39, as he tries desperately to try and claw his way back to this lead group of 3.
Fast Freddie, or James Jacobs, is also making his way forward. Moved up into 5th place at the moment.
Yeah, you can see there he's just in the lead group behind the green Kawasaki Connection supported machine. Will be out onto the Honda back straight very, very quickly. There he is. Number 16, just getting ahead of Liam Waters on 181. Then we've got Cameron Swain and Marianus Nicholas, the 2 last champions in the Blue Crew Oceano Junior Cup, on board bike number 46 and 26. The next riders through. Then it's Henry Snell on board bike number 12. Brody Gorwith in there as well on board 25. Sam Pizzetta on 51 as well.
And Hayden Nelson has made the way through, leads the race. See Dunker there, just have a look back over his shoulder and see what the situation is. And Glenn Nelson is right on the back of that pack now.
He is. He's on virtually on the ducktail of Teo Aksu's number 91 machine. Teo Aksu had some great results in the last round at Queensland Raceway, and unfortunately had a crash that put him out of the overall round results. But he's doing a good job here at Wakefield Park. As we come down towards the bottom of the hill, Dunker has a look up the inside.
As does Glenn Nelson as well. Can't quite do it there, but he's definitely on the back of that group now. And now that he's on the back of the group, Phil, he can actually take a breath. Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot of mental energy and energy to catch up to a group. But once you get there, you can have 1 or 2 laps to have a bit of a rest. Especially, we're just about halfway, just over halfway through this race now.
So Hayden Nelson leads from Cameron Dunker, Teo Aksu and Glenn Nelson in 4th. So Dunker and Teo Aksu are getting the full Nelson treatment as we come down to complete 6 laps now of this 10-lap journey. So we're just over half race distance. Glenn Nelson once again putting in a faster lap than the riders in front, a 105.7, 0.2 of a second off his fastest lap of the race. But faster than all of the riders in front, who are all into the low 106s.
Yeah, but Cameron Dunker doesn't care whether he got the fastest lap or not. He still slipstreamed past him through turn 1 there. So turn 2, sorry, the Motul corner. Big move up the inside there. And Cameron back in command of this race.
We were talking before about the bright helmets, the custom painted helmets. Well, Cameron Dunker doesn't go for any of that. He's got the traditional plain white helmet on out the front of this field at the moment. You can see it there like a beacon as he makes his way through the bottom end of the circuit. Through Honda now, and then out down along the very short back straight. You can see those bikes riding over the bumps, and this is a very bumpy braking area as well, as Nelson comes up the inside, tries to get the better of both Hayden Nelson and Teo Aksu, but couldn't quite get the job done. I think Glenn Nelson is also one of the tallest riders in this field as well. Towers over Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3. As Hayden Nelson pulls out of the slipstream, Aksu pulls out of his slipstream, and down through the inside, it is Aksu that gets the better of the 2-man slipstream to take up the running. Dunker goes from the race lead to 3rd place in one fell swoop.
You can almost see that size difference that you mentioned as well. You know, like when Glenn Nelson, he gets up there in the corners, and look at that, he's already moved himself up past Cameron Dunker. But on the straight, he does seem to lose a little bit to that other bunch.
Well, that was Glenn Nelson using a bit of inspiration from the man whose helmet he proudly wears, the Jack Miller replica there, as he makes his way down towards the bottom of the hill and tries a big move on the brakes to go up the inside. He does. He gets up the inside of Hayden Nelson on board bike number 279 and has his sights firmly set now on race leader Teo Aksu on board bike number 91.
Big move there by Glenn Nelson. He was not content to sit at the back of that group. He sat there for a couple of laps and then said, right, I'm comfortable, I'm going to have a go.
Well, that's what you said, Steve. He used a lot of energy to get himself up onto the back. Here is a replay of that move coming down into Pirelli, up the inside of Nelson on board. Position, but it's still Teo Aksu that leads.
Yeah, absolutely. That group couldn't be any tighter, could it, as they tip into the Dunlop corner there, just through the bumps, flick over to the right hand, up this hill, off camber there.
As they came through the start-finish line at the completion of the last lap, there was 0.3 of a second that covered the top three as they made their way across the line.
Yeah, pretty exciting dice between these four guys at the moment.
So here we come down through Pirelli once again, this long, long corner that's almost taken as one big corner, sweeping all the way through from Pirelli and then down into a Honda corner and then out onto the back street. They're starting to weave all over the place now. Race leader Teo Aksu doesn't want anyone to be coming up the inside. Foot out from Nelson as he tries to go up the inside of Junker. Can't get the job done. It is Hayden Nelson. All of these riders pretty much, apart from Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39, have had an opportunity to lead this race so far. Looks like the two leaders now, Aksu and Cameron Dunker, have managed to pull out a couple of bike lengths to lead as we get this final lap forward. Head through Motul corner for the first time. Oh, it looked like there was a front end about to be lost there as we made our way through Motul, but it was saved.
And it's Dunker back in the lead with Teo Aksu just behind him. Dunker will have it pretty wide through this top section of the circuit, Suzuki and Ducati down through Michelin. But then when they head into that fishhook, he's going to have to hold it tight. Keep the mid-corner speed up here. Try and let the other guys go around the outside, but it's Hayden Nelson, looks up the inside, can't do it. Dunker with too much entry speed there. Going to be hard from here. It's going to come down to that final corner as they keep tucked in through Honda onto the short back straight. Take a couple of breaths here, Bill, because it's all about to unfold as we heard it turn into Yamaha revs your heart out.
Aksu tries to go up the inside, can't get the job done. It looks like Hayden Nelson is going to have to try and use the slipstream as they come out, but it is Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3. Has he set sail for his second victory of the weekend in the Dunlop Supersport 300 class? Aksu pulls out of the slipstream. Who will get to the line first? It is so close. Yesterday's race was decided by 0.005 of a second. What will be the final margin in today's race, Steve? Because that one was too close to call, as is this battle for 5th place back to about 10th. It looks like James Jacobs, or as you mentioned, Fast Freddy, may have just got the nod there, but just waiting for confirmation on that result. It looks like Cameron Dunker may have got the nod over Teo Aksu, with Hayden Nelson taking 3rd and Glenn Nelson taking 4th, but I reckon there may be a photo review just to confirm those results.
Yeah, absolutely. That's as close as you get. It looks like it has been confirmed that it is Cameron Dunker who's taken out the win. But, boy, that was close. Teo Aksu gave it everything he could.
Confirmation of the results. Cameron Duncan does take the win by 0.009 of a second. That's 4 thousandths of a second more than yesterday's race over Teo Aksu. Hayden Nelson up onto the podium in 3rd place, his first podium for the weekend. Glenn Nelson back to 4th place on board bike number 39. James Jacobs did get the nod over the very fast riding Liam Waters on board bike number 181 for 5th position. Marianus Nicholas and Cameron Slane were 7th and 8th position. Brody Gorwith in 9th and Henry Snell rounded out the top 10.
Yeah, that was a massive second group, wasn't it? Really, really impressive. Sam Pizzetta that was there in 11th position as well, as we have a look at the Honda highlights.
Good start there from Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3 as he made his way down towards turn 1, but he was swamped and he ended up back to 4th or 5th position. Has a bit of a look over his shoulder and all he could see was a massive horde of Supersport 300 machines.
Jonathan Naylor was leading early on. James Jacobs there in the middle of the pack, tucked in behind the screen. Cameron Dunker took the lead.
There was a favourite move, wasn't it? Slipstream down the straight, make a move through turn 1, slip into the lead in turn 2. Early on, Jonathan Naylor on bike number 20 was up there in the lead group, but unfortunately Yamaha revs your heart corner caught him out, and unfortunately he went down, and that was the end of his race.
Yeah, he wasn't too happy about that either. But up front, it was the Haydens, Hayden Nelson, and also Cameron Dunker, who shot off to a little bit of a lead, but the group behind were catching up. Glenn Nelson was giving it everything he had.
He had to make up a fair bit of distance, Steve. He was about a second or so behind, but it wasn't long after a couple of laps of hard graft, including the fastest lap of the race, that he was able to attach onto the back of the group. Then he started to make his way forward through the group, trying big overtaking manoeuvres at every opportunity, but our race leader all the time seemed to be Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3 until Teo Aksu and Hayden Nelson both put a slipstream manoeuvre on and took the lead through turn 2.
Yeah, super close racing as this started to wind down. There wasn't much in this, and that you could just tell this was going to be a close one. Teo Aksu was giving it everything that he had, and I'll tell you what, I think that he looked like he was going to have a good crack at Dunker on the final corner, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah, Nelson had worked his way up as high as second place, but in the end he slipped back to fourth, leaving Cameron Dunker, Teo Aksu and Hayden Nelson to take out and fight over the final podium positions. And at the line, it was Cameron Dunker that took the win by 0.009 of a second over Teo Aksu, with Hayden Nelson joining them on the podium. We'll be speaking to those three in just a moment. They're on the podium with KP.
Hayden Nelson in P3. Congratulations, another podium for the weekend. It looked pretty wild out there.
Yeah, that was awesome fun again. 4 of us up there at the front that time, and yeah, awesome battling. Looking forward to the rest of the weekend and the races. I'd just like to thank my sponsors, Taro Motorcycles, Gao Moto and Night Designs. Thank you.
Well done, Hayden. Congratulations. All right, and in P2, Teo Aksu, you fought tooth and nail out there. It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, that was such an awesome race. All the boys just took it all the way to the last corner. Honestly, I couldn't have done it without the help of Mum, Dad, Triple X rated suspension, Oakland Park Racing, Triple M Motorcycles, the Grinning Dingo, Kabuto Helmets, Raikondi and Race and Road.
Well done. Congratulations. You go relax. And in P1, the busiest man in this paddock, Cameron Dunker. Congratulations, another win for you. You are fast.
Yeah, that's what we came here to do, and we managed to do it this weekend. We had good pace like the whole weekend, and just trying to convert it to race wins.
Well, you could do a hat trick. There's one more race to go.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try and do.
Excellent stuff. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to our top three. Cameron Dunker takes the race win and also extends that championship lead. 159 points now. James Jacobs has moved up into second place. Fast Freddy on the charge on board the Kawasaki, 143 in second. Henry Snell in third. Glenn Nelson in fourth. It is so tight from second to fourth place. Only 2 points separate them. Aksu's moved up to fifth. Hayden Nelson in sixth. Joe Russo in seventh. Sam Pizzetta in eighth. Jonathan Nalos in ninth. And Liam Waters rounds out the top 10. Plenty more action coming up here. A short break and back with Alpine Star Superbike Race 1 here at round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul.
Now in order to celebrate Yamaha's 60th year of competing in Grand Prix, Yamaha is pleased to announce the all-new YZF R7. Here's a bike that rekindles the spirit of the TZ races from a bygone era. A machine that is affordable, accessible, and capable on both the road and the track. Resplendent in the iconic red and white colour scheme, the all-new YZF R7 evokes memories of Yamaha's legendary world champions. The new R7 offers the ultimate adrenaline rush, whether you're hustling around a closed circuit or exploring the twisties on a weekend blast. From the first twist of the throttle, you'll feel fully connected to the surface thanks to an ultra-responsive 689cc twin-cylinder engine. Pop out from behind the screen and feel the responsive, agile chassis as you tip it in. There's no better feeling. Only Yamaha has this pure race DNA, so only Yamaha can make this tribute that marks 60 years of racing and winning at the top table. All new YZF R7, celebrating 60 years of World Grand Prix racing.
To adapt to the tires, to be honest, it didn't take a crazy amount of time, you know. For sure with the Superbike the tires are softer, but in general we were able to adapt and find a great feeling, and to be honest, the difference, or the feeling difference is not so much between this and the tires we would run on a cold weekend. To be honest, it was a little harder the first laps, but I didn't know the circuit. But immediately, as soon as I was ready to push, the tires were there and ready to go immediately. Yeah, the performance has been really good overall for the amount of laps we can make. And
consistent performance of the tires. I've been really surprised with this, to be able to do, 40-something laps with the tires and have no issues, still doing some of my best times at the end. So the durability is amazing.
This year in the top end, trackside pride is set to ignite at the Merlin-Darwin Triple Crown with the first official Indigenous round of the Supercars Championship. It's heart-pounding fun for the whole family and a proud Aussie motorsport first not to be missed. The Merlin-Darwin Triple Crown Indigenous round, June 17 to 19. Hearts will race. Book now at darwinsupercars.com.au.
Welcome back to Wakefield Park, round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. And we are getting ready, Steve Martin, because Alpine Stars Superbikes are about to take up their positions on the grid. And so much has happened in this championship in only 2 rounds of racing. We've seen some of our top contenders crash. We've seen Mike Jones have a perfect round at the last round, pole position and 2 race wins. And he's carried that form on here to Wakefield Park, where he gets back to pole position as well. Time to head down to the grid with KP.
Got Desmo Sport Ducati rider here, Brian Starry. Brian, you're sitting P2 in the championship, but I bumped into you at the supermarket last night, and you said that you have had to really work on your ride style rather than more on the bike. So could you just explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, I guess this circuit requires a pretty specific sort of a technique, and because these bikes are so fast and this circuit's so small and tight, it's really about riding the bike quite softly. And I guess after the Queensland Raceway, where it's about being aggressive and strong on the brake, this is really the opposite, and just getting myself into that rhythm. That's really all.
And do you feel like you've got it dialed in now?
Yeah, I think. Look, we're on the second row, but that's certainly by no means a bad result. I think our qualifying lap time spoke for itself, and that we're definitely ready.
Excellent stuff. Well, we hope to see you on the podium.
Thank you.
All right, and in P5, we've got Troy Herfoss. It's his home track here, obviously, and he knows every inch of asphalt around here. Sorry, I just had to believe I've already got the elbows out. I'm just preparing you for the race, my friend. Now, speaking of the race, are you going to be able to keep up with this front row? Because we know when they get away, they are gone.
Yeah, I've been in that position. I know where I'm at, and yeah, I'm not delusional. I need to get a good start, and I sort of, based off what I see, I've got to hope that Wayne and Mike don't get together out front, I guess, because they got really good pace. In saying that, it's a hard track to get away, and it's a physically hard track, and a lot can happen. So I don't know what it's like starting on the second row at Wakefield, but I'm sure it's going to be fairly busy on the first lap. So I'm going to.
Well, you know how to win here, that's for sure. You've had 9 wins, so that must fill you with some confidence.
Yeah, I just know I've got to hang in there, and in the last 10 laps, things start to happen.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you back on the podium, up on the top step, hopefully, Troy.
I hope so, thank you.
Fingers crossed, because all the family are here. Everybody's cheering for you. And now we've got Josh Waters here. Josh, so we've had some bike issue setups really between you and Glenn Allerton, your teammate. Just talk us through how you're feeling going into this race today, whether you feel like you've got it dialed in and what improvements you feel like you've made.
I feel bloody nervous, that's what I feel. Yeah, it's been difficult, this one, with the way that the circuit is and stuff for our bike, but keep chipping away, and yeah, hopefully just try my best and see how we go.
And tyres were also a big conversation in terms of what the BMW works with. What did you guys settle on in the end?
The black round ones, Pirelli type.
Yeah. And how did it go in warm-up this morning?
Yeah, it was okay. I used second-hand ones, so better to get a feeling of what it's going to feel like midway through the race than, yeah.
And just lastly, how are your starts?
Hopefully good. I don't know. It's just fingers crossed.
Well, good luck. We're crossing our fingers and toes for you, Josh.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, KP. Good to hear from Josh Waters there on the Maxima Racing.film BMW. and doing a great job. Let's have a quick recap of the calendars. The Pro MX calendar. Round 1 was at Wonthaggi on the 27th of March. Round 2 was at Mackay. That was only a couple of weeks ago. Next one, round 3 at Wodonga on the 1st of May. Then round 4 at Goulburn in South Australia, 29th of May. Round 5, we head back to New South Wales and Maitland on the 26th of June. Coffs Harbour on the 24th of July for round 6. Queensland Moto Park, round 7 on the 14th of August. And then round 8, once again in Queensland at Coolum on the 20th to the 21st of August. The Australian Off-Road Championship, the next round will be rounds 5 and 6 at Kyogle in New South Wales on the 16th and 17th of July. Round 7 and 8 at Nowra on the 6th and 7th of August. Rounds 9 and 10, Kingston, South Australia, September 17 and 18. And the final rounds, Wynyard, Tasmania, round 11 and 12 on the 8th and 9th of October. The Australian Superbike Championships, of course, we're here at Wakefield Park, round 3. Round 4, we head to Darwin's Hidden Valley, always a fantastic event run with the supercar Steve Martin. Then we go to Morgan Park in Queensland for round 5, the 5th to the 7th of August. Unfortunately, news coming out this week that round 6 at Simmons Plains in Tasmania has been cancelled. Round 7 at Phillip Island is now scheduled to be in conjunction with the World Superbike Championships in November. And then the grand finale at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia, currently scheduled for the 2nd to the 4th of December. Back down to you, KP.
Now I've got Wayne Maxwell here, 3-time ASBK champ. Tell us about how, can you reveal what tyres you've used now?
Yeah, look, it's pretty much gone with the same option we've been with all weekend, like I said to you. So, yeah, look, we're going to stick to the plan. We haven't mucked around with tyres too much. It's more in me and the setup. So, yeah, look, I think we've nailed that, and hopefully we've done the job.
Yeah, exactly. Front row, top step.
Yeah,
and how are you start feeling?
Yeah, starts have been good, so let's try to just keep that going and roll on from there.
Excellent stuff. Okay, great. Good luck, Green.
Thank you.
And we've got Crew Halliday as well. We've got about a minute till we get booted. Crew, you're fully focused mode. You've been practicing your starts as well.
Yeah, hopefully I had 3 good ones in warm-up, and hopefully I don't bluff the 4th one. But yeah, I just need to get up to start finally. You know, I've been struggling for 2 years with starts, but you know, I think we worked something out, so hopefully it pays off.
Excellent stuff. Good luck, Crew.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from the riders down there on the grid. A lot of people, you know, think this is Troy Herfoss's home round, obviously because he's from Goulburn. Crew Halliday only lives an hour up the freeway, as done Glenn Allerton as well. So both of those riders would class this as their home round as well. So look for strong results from those ones. They would have had a lot of friend and family coming down here to watch them this weekend. Let's recap the championship point situation. Mike Jones, the man that sits on pole position for the 10th time in the Superbike class, leads the championship on 87 points. That is courtesy of that extra point that he's just got for pole position. Brian Starring in 2nd on 70. Josh Waters in 3rd on 67. Wayne Maxwell 3 points behind in 4th. Glenn Allerton in 5th. CC's Halliday, Falzon, Herfoss and West round out the top 10. Then West just back from the Le Mans 24-hour race. He's done plenty of laps over the last couple of days. Alpine Star Superbike getting ready to go on the final warm-up lap, Steve Martin. Mike Jones will start from that front row of the grid, picking up that extra all-important point as well, and that is his 10th pole position in the Superbike class as well.
Absolutely. This start is going to be an absolute cracker. Everyone wants to get into that turn 1 in first place. You need to get a good start at Wakefield Park. It's tight, especially on these Superbikes with 200 horsepower. You really have to just do what you can to get up to the front, at least in the first couple of laps.
Well, let's recap that grid now. It is Jones that will start from pole position with his teammate Crew Halliday. First Yamaha 1-2 since 2016, and that was Wayne Maxwell that actually qualified on pole on that occasion. He starts on the front row as well. The second row is Brian Starring, Troy Herfoss and Josh Waters.
Yeah, good to see Josh Waters up there with Arthur Cece's having another cracker round. Glenn Allerton there on the BMW as well. Good for him, and Lachlan Epps on the Alliance BMW next to him.
Don't be surprised to see Arthur Cece somewhere near the front as well. We know he always gets good starts. Row 4 is Mark Kyoto, Matt Walters and Daniel Falzon. Row 5, Jed Metcher. Brock Pearson, unfortunately, out of this race. Sustained some injuries in morning warm-up this morning. Then it's Ant West, Chandler Cooper and Michael Edwards that round out the field.
Yeah, big field, exciting race. Really looking forward to the start of this one.
It is really hard to try and pick a winner because there's so many riders that have shown pace this weekend. All of the riders on virtually the first 2 rows of the grid could be a possible race winner.
The times are so tight, Phil. That's what's going to make this one a cracker.
Jones pulls into pole position, takes that one tear off his visor, getting ready, so he's got clear view of turn one. We're ready to go racing. You can see Herfoss and Maxwell pumping themselves up on the grid. Red flag leaves the front of the grid. Alpine Stars Superbike, race one, ready to go. Superbikes go. Looks like a fantastic start from Maxwell on the inside of the circuit. He could have very well have the running as they come down towards turn one for the first time. And through Motul corner he goes in the lead. Halliday's got a cracking start. He's in third position. That's his best start for ages. Herfoss has got a good start as well, not too far behind. But Arthur CC's, as predicted, up into fourth place on board bike number 61. The lightning starter from South Australia's done it again.
Well, you knew Arthur CC's was going to be up there, didn't you? And what a start from Maxwell. But Crew Halliday, well done.
So he's down the hill we go. Maxwell leading, right on his tail is Jones on 46. Then it's Halliday on 65. Down the inside already on Arthur CC's was Troy Herfoss. Desperate to try and get back up the inside. Didn't want to risk getting held up at all. Brian Starring's also gone through as well. Looked like Josh Waters has got a pretty good start on board the Maxima Racing Oils .film BMW as well on board bike number 21.
Just caught out of the corner of my eye there. Starring got absolutely sideways, manages to pull it all up, and he sits back there in fifth position at the moment. A little bit of a gap, but he's doing everything he can to try and make that through. Herfoss will be pretty happy at the moment where he sits, I reckon.
Yeah, rolling thunder as they made their way down the short Wakefield Park main straight for the first time. It is Jones glued to the ducktail of the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech V4R Ducati at the top of the hill. Herfoss is starting to extricate himself from Starring as well and move his way forward. He's desperate to get on the back of Crew Halliday's Yamaha Racing Team R1 as they come through the top of the hill and down through the very fast Michelin corner and try and launch an assault on the brakes of Pirelli.
Yeah, he's looking good there in second position is Mike Jones on the factory Yamaha at the moment with his teammate Crew Halliday consolidating. He'll be pinching himself with that start, Crew Halliday. We know that once he settles down, he did it at Phillip Island, he was able to pass Mike Jones. Maybe Mike Jones ain't going to have it all his own way this time out.
Good start too from Mark Kyoto. He's made his way up into 8th position, right on the back of Arthur CC's now. As we look further back in the field, good battle there with Jeff Maxwell on the 727 late over team. Dunley with Matt Walters on that Kawasaki connection. ZX
on that qualifying lap time in the race with the tank load of fuel enough to finish 20 laps.
And when asked yesterday what the race pace would be, mid-57s, Mike Jones' comment was it'll be faster than that. They've started off in pretty good fashion with a 57.2 on the first flying lap. Jones just has a little bit of a look, just decides to pull back in line. Crew Halliday, he's run wide on the brakes down into Pirelli, and Herfoss is closed right up onto the back now of the 65 machine. Oh, massive loss of track position there for Crew Halliday on board bike number 65.
You can't afford to make mistakes around this track, considering that Halliday, look at Starring sideways. Halliday was the fastest man on track. 56s on his first flying lap, Crew Halliday. So fastest lap, but makes a mistake and loses time.
A bit of a chance there from Josh Waters on the Maxima Oils Racing .film BMW. He's made his way up to the 6th position and starting to claw back the gap to Brian Starring as well. Maxwell already starting to get it a bit sideways on the run up the hill through AMMF corner as well.
Look, Jones's speciality is looking smooth, and I'll tell you what, he's looking pretty smooth out there at the moment. He's menacing the back of Wayne Maxwell on the boost by K-Tech Ducati.
I'll tell you what, Wayne Maxwell is used to coming under pressure here at Wakefield Park. The strange thing is it's usually bike number 17, Troy Herfoss, that is the man putting the pressure on. You can see Jones got a little bit wrong on the brakes there and had to brake a little bit harder, lost a few bike lengths to Maxwell, but this is the man we need to keep our eye on. He's not called the Governor of Goulburn for nothing. The Wizard of Wakefield Park, Troy Herfoss, is starting to make his way forward, and he's right onto the back of Crew Halliday now.
Look, this is Herfoss's welcome back race, is what I say, because he has been struggling with that Honda, struggling with a lot of things, but now you can see, it's plain to see, he's back and he's competitive, so I'm really, really happy for him and the Honda team. They never gave up, they put in a lot of effort, and good old Herfoss is not letting them down this time out.
Well, all of these top riders, their teams have done a miraculous job to make their bikes be able to ride the bumps. We were saying about it before, Steve Martin. We saw the Supersport 300s really pogoing across the bumps as they went through turn 2. These Superbikes look so smooth.
Well, they certainly do. There's a million things that they do to try and make the rider feel flush out there on track and make it break straight and also handle the bumps. They've got a lot more development they can do than the smaller classes.
Fastest man on track so far in this race has been Wayne Maxwell with a 56.972 as they come across the line now to complete the fifth lap. So a quarter race distance. It's a long race round here, Wakefield Park. 20 laps of physical racing, 10 corners packed into 2.2 kilometres, and Jones right behind Wayne Maxwell gets great drive out of Motul corner and up the hill through AMMF. As they come through Dunlop now, you can see the bikes riding the bumps very well. Then these two corners that are so close together, and then this deceptively fast right-hander through Michelin that sets you up for a possible out-braking manoeuvre, and that's exactly what Jones is doing. He looks to go to the inside, but no, Maxwell is too late on the brakes at Pirelli to let Jones through.
Yeah, and not only that, he takes that tight line at the apex.
How to block the corner off, try and let anyone through.
That's because you need to set it up way earlier. Jones is leaving it too late to set that move up.
So it looks like Herfoss has got his head down. He said that this bike, the new CBR 1000 RRR, is a very different animal to the Honda that he's ridden with such great success over the last couple of seasons here at Wakefield Park. And it's taken him a little while to try and adapt that bike to this very tricky circuit. But it looks like the Penrite Honda team, led by Phil Tatum there, have been doing a pretty good job to get that bike set up, and it's looking better than what it has over the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Considering the pace that this race is being run at.
Yeah, it's a lot more top-end power than the old bike. The old bike you sort of ride, and it was like you were asking for more power, and that is the sort of bike you need to ride around this circuit. So Herfoss, a lot more wheel spin than he's used to, but the team dialing it out and setting it up looks like almost perfectly for him this time round.
Maxwell looking smooth out the front, as he always does, with minimal body movement around the motorcycle, courtesy of all the training he's been doing on his little Lavalis as he sets up the Australian Championship for those miraculous little machines. And looks like he's pulled out a couple of tenths of gap over Mike Jones. The lead now up to 0.3 of a second. That's nothing around Wakefield Park as his bike once again rides the bumps and he sets sail up the hill through AMMF. Jones just sitting there in second position. Dropping back a little bit, looks like Crew Halliday. His last lap was a 57.3, so not too far off the pace, but Jones on that last lap, uncharacteristically, was a 57.5.
Yeah, it looks like he made some sort of mistake heading off that final corner, and the Ducati man in front, Wayne Maxwell, just pulled a bit of a gap, but he's pulled that gap back down now, so Jones sitting where he wants to be.
Now top five all doing 57-second laps on the last lap. Josh Waters in sixth was back into a 58 flat, as was Arthur Cece's in seventh position. Glenn Allerton was also in the 57s, back in eighth position, trying to tag onto the back of his teammate. You can see there Allerton on board bike number 14. The Maxima Racing Oils .film BMW. Mark Yetto putting in a great ride just ahead of Daniel Falzon on board bike number 25. A far less complicated weekend this weekend for Daniel Falzon. He doesn't have to duck off to get married in the middle of the weekend.
And then make it back for the race the next day. No, absolutely. So good job by Daniel. Remember, he's recovering from injury as well, so it's not all plain sailing for him.
Back down to KP.
Consistent at the moment, hopefully no mistakes, and we can stay in contact with this top three here and maybe hopefully challenge for a podium at the end.
And do you think in terms of development of tyre and track that is going to swing in his direction?
I'm hoping so, but as long as we don't make any mistakes, we'll stay there.
Yeah, he was feeling pretty confident on the grid from what
he's confident.
He's won here before. Thanks, Dion.
Bye.
Thanks, boys.
You can just see the nerves there from Dion, can't you? He doesn't want to say too much at the moment, just standing there keeping both of his hands, fingers crossed, probably toes too, that Herfoss can just get a good result, because that will give him the confidence for race 2 today. I noticed that Halliday is just starting to close that gap down a little bit there too, so maybe I'm sure that he wants to join the party. Nobody wants to see your teammate in front of you. Jonesy there once again, not much you can do. Looks like Maxwell is so strong into that Pirelli corner.
Yeah, nothing separated them on the last lap, but Crew Halliday was a couple of hundredths of a second faster than Maxwell on lap 9 of this event. We're coming round to complete lap 10 now, so it's half race distance. Tyres will start to probably lose a little bit of grip now from now to the end of the race, and it's going to be who's been able to manage those tyres the best in the first part of this race.
Well, yeah.
There was a yellow flag just waved at the end of the straight there, so no overtaking. Jones can't get past, as we see that someone, Marchiotto, has crashed at turn 1. Unfortunately, Marchiotto was having a fantastic ride, well inside the top 10, but unfortunately his race has finished a fraction early.
You can just see how rough it is there. Well, a bit of work to do to get that one back. Good to hear that Marchiotto's okay, but looks like a lot of damage done to that machine. He's got another bike in the garage. Let's hope that he can get back, get it ready for race 2.
Yeah, looks like Glenn Richards and Tiger will have a little bit of work to do to get that bike ready for race number 2.
Yeah, I don't think that one will be ready for race 2.
So Jones looks like he's closed back up onto the back end of Wayne Maxwell on board bike number 1, the reigning champion. 3 championships to Wayne Maxwell's name, 2 championships to Mike Jones's name, and also closing in from behind is Troy Herfoss, who has multiple championships as well. Also won an Australian Supersport championship. And Crew Halliday is desperate to try and hang on to the back of his teammate. He's shown pace so many times over so many rounds without being able to crack that ultimate goal. His last race win was at Morgan Park in Queensland a couple of years ago, but he's won an Australian Supersport championship since then as well.
Slowest man in that top 4 last time round was the leader, Wayne Maxwell. Bit quicker, Mike Jones, almost equaling Herfoss as well, and all Crew Holiday was 57.5, so another 2/10 made up by Herfoss.
Bottom of the hill we come. It is Maxwell just holding out Jones. Looks to be sitting there, in actual fact, doing a Troy Herfoss, letting Wayne Maxwell do all the donkey work at the front. It is much harder to lead, and it's a lot easier to sit in second place, shadowing your rival. The only thing is that if anything happens, anyone makes a mistake, you can pull out that couple of bike length distance, and around here, Steve, it's very hard to come back.
Jones won't be wanting to leave it to the last lap. He's going to make a move at about 15 or 16 if he can, I reckon, because he want to, on the last lap, he's going to want to have it, be able to cruise a bit. He's not going to want to make it a last corner dash.
Well, Maxwell's responded to that last lap where you said that he was the slowest of the lead group by being the fastest of the lead group. As we look back through the field, looks like a pretty good battle here. Ant West looks like having a good battle with Jeff Metcher, and also one of the BMWs, that's Lachlan Eplis on the BMW Alliance Racing Machine, bike number 83.
Matty Walters was in that group too. Good to see Matt Walters up there. Max Stauffer's making his way forward into the points as well after a big crash yesterday. Wasn't even sure he was going to start, so Matty Stauffer gritting it out.
That is a Herculean effort from Max Stauffer on board bike number 27 to just be out there on the grid. Couldn't qualify yesterday because of a big crash on Friday afternoon, and to be sitting currently in 14th position and lapping in the 62nd bracket. What an excellent effort there from Max, who was going to go out in warm-up this morning and see how he felt. We didn't expect him to be on the grid, but what an effort. Well done, Max Stauffer.
Crew Halliday still stuck at that just about 0.8 off those leading 2. He can't seem to make up that group.
He was almost half a second faster than the top 3 on the last lap as he tries to close in. Good time to head back down to KP.
Got Craig McMartin here. Mobile with K-Tech suspension, Wayne Maxwell's team manager. He's finding speed out there. There's some pretty good battles happening. Tell us about the strategy going in and how he's going to complete this race to get on the top step.
You know, a typical Wayne, he'll settle into a rhythm and just go at his pace. And the race is, we're getting a long way into the race now, so hopefully, he can keep what he's doing, and the tyre will last a distance that Pirelli, I think, won't have a problem. So we'll just see who's got the best bike.
Excellent. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Well, just while we were hearing Craig talking, then you could see Wayne Maxwell riding over the bumps, and if anything, his bike is actually starting to look better, smoother as he makes his way through Yamaha Rebjahart corner, the final corner, and still getting great drive up the hill through AMMF corner. Jones's bike's starting to move around a little bit, but once again, Mike Jones is the master of riding that bike smoothly.
Absolutely. I mean, Jones is just sitting there. I don't believe that that's all that Jones has got. He's going to have a dig, but we do know how smart Maxwell is and how tough he is. He just is so good into that fish hook, which is one of the major overtaking spots on this track, that I don't think Jonesy can do it there. He's got the perfect line as Wayne Maxwell. As they head through Honda corner, he's good out of there too, which makes it awfully hard into the final turn for Jonesy to have a dive up the inside, which is your other major overtaking spot.
Well, final corner of lap 15 coming up. There we are. We're heading towards the start-finish line now to complete 3/4 race distance. It is still Wayne Maxwell leading over Mike Jones. Crew Halliday in third place. fastest man of the leading group on that last lap was once again Crew Halliday. The current gap from Crew Halliday to the race lead is about 0.8 of a second. So Halliday just chipping away at it, but he's going to have to find a little bit more because we've only got 4 laps to go on it. His current rate of progression is not going to get up to a position where he can put a challenge on his teammate or race leader Wayne Maxwell.
When these two guys start having a bit of a dice together and Jonesy makes his move, which it looks like he's trying to do right now, can't do it, that's when Crew Halliday can pounce, because it'll slow those two guys down. Halliday's in almost the perfect position to take advantage of that, maybe get them both in one move. That's what his plan has to be now with so many laps, well, not many laps to go.
In the last 14 races at Wakefield Park, only Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss have taken victories here. 9 victories for Herfoss and 5 victories for Wayne Maxwell. Could we see for the first time in 7 years a new victor here at Wakefield Park? Maxwell has just put in an absolute cracker, a 57.642. That's faster than Mike Jones by 0.2 of a second as he tries to pull out a little bit of a gap. 16 laps down, we've only got 4 laps to go.
Well, that would be the plan that I would do if I was Wayne Maxwell. With a few laps to go, nail it. Just ride calmly to this point, and now he's got to give it everything he's got. Now's the time to show your cards.
And Jones just pulls right up, back up onto the back of Maxwell. He tries to dive down the inside. He started that move nice and early, like you said, Steve Martin, but Maxwell just saw him coming. Let the brakes off. The Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech V4R and just went a little bit faster into the corner, but was able to maintain his line as he makes his way through Honda now and out onto the back straight. He knows that Jones is going to try and make a manoeuvre now. Jones has signalled his intent.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Jones has got to try something different. He's been setting himself up now a few times in that same position as they head down the hill there on that change of direction through the Michelin corner. But it's not going to work. He's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive if he wants to make that work, or he's got to do something desperate where Maxwell doesn't expect it.
Well, Jones has made a move up the hill. He's got great drive.
Like
and he's
that.
pulled ahead through AWMF corner. I don't think Wayne Maxwell was expecting that. And you predicted it, Steve Martin, when you said, I think Jones has got a little bit more than that left. As he comes through the top of the hill now, Maxwell knows he's got a fight on his hands and he's going to have to try and claw onto the back of that very rapid Yamaha R1M as Jones has pulled out 3 bike lengths lead in the matter of 4 corners.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Jones does now, because it looked to me like he did have a little bit more as we have a look at the AMX replay. He goes in a little bit wide, wider than Maxwell, tips it in earlier, holds it a bit tighter, gets on the gas earlier. Look at how much it's sliding on the exit there, and gets the power down and says, see you later, mate, I'm going to pass you where you don't expect me to do it. And that's what he needed to do, because Maxwell had the other spots covered.
Well, that was grip and acceleration on display there from Jones, but also bike control as he was able to keep the bike sliding, hold the throttle on, and get the run up the hill through Dunlop, and managed to survive that very bumpy corner entry.
Absolutely. Now he's the man with a little bit of an advantage. 0.4 is normally not a big advantage, but at this track, it's a lot to make up. And now, Crew Halliday is right on the back wheel of the Ducati man.
Well, on lap 19 now, so the penultimate lap for our race leader, Mike Jones. His teammate, Crew Halliday, is trying desperately to make it another Yamaha 1-2. We saw them go 1-2 in qualifying, but standing in his way is the reigning champion, Wayne Maxwell, on the Boost Mobile Racing with K-Tech Ducati V4R. As we come through Honda corner for the penultimate time and head down towards Yamaha Regihart corner, Jones has got a very handy lead. Maxwell is going to have to put an incredible last lap in if he's going to take this race victory. And Herfoss, I think, has got a pretty safe 4th position under control. He's got a massive gap over Brian Starring, who could very well be coming under assault from the rapid South Australian Arthur Cece's, who is on great form at the moment.
Absolutely. Arthur doing a fantastic job there.
So final lap. Mike Jones leads by 0.6 of a second over Wayne Maxwell. Maxwell sitting in 2nd place and looks like he has got enough of a buffer over Crew Halliday that he should be able to take that 2nd place. But it is Jones, the current championship leader, the man that started from pole position, that leads them down the hill for the final time.
Jones with a 57.4 last time through as well. So he has pulled the pin. He had a little bit extra, and you can just see there that gap opening up now to nearly 0.8 of a second. He's got this one, has Jones.
Well, if anything, Crew Halliday pulled up a little bit on the brakes in that final attempt at the Pirelli corner as well, but I think Jones has got this one in the bag. Down the inside, no need to go too deep and shallow on the brakes there, Mike. Wayne Maxwell is not near you as he makes his way out of the corner for the final time. Jones will make it 3 race wins in a row on board bike number 46 as he comes to the line and takes victory over Wayne Maxwell. Crew Halliday rounds out the podium in 3rd, and you reckon he's happy once again? It is magical, Mike.
Yeah, what a ride by Mike Jones. He just played that book perfect.
Coming across the line in 4th position was Troy Herfoss. The gap to the race lead, 6.7 seconds. He won't be happy with that, but it's his best race result since that injury at Darwin last year, Steve. So he'd be pretty happy with the points that he will take. Brian Starring takes out 5th position. Arthur CC's, that strong run of form continues for Arthur and makes it 3 Yamahas inside the top 6. Glenn Allerton won the race between the BMW teammates to the line on board bike number 14, finishing in 7th position on the Maxima Racing .film BMW. Josh Waters, his teammate, in 8th. Daniel Fowson in 9th. Ant West rounds out the top 10. Oh, wow, what can you say about this man? Mike Jones, he holds up the one finger at the moment. No one can seem to challenge the Queenslander, who once again has won the race. That's 3 in a row.
Well, there it is. Mike Jones takes the win. Wayne Maxwell in 2nd, 1.1 seconds behind in the end, with Crew Halliday 3rd. Troy Herfoss takes out that 4th spot. That was a great comeback by Troy Herfoss. We've been waiting for that. Starring has got to find something for the next race. Arthur CC's still on good form. Glenn Allerton, as you said, Phil, wins that BMW battle. Josh Waters, Daniel Fowles on there too, good, coming back from injury. Ant West made his way forward into that top 10.
Yeah, Jed Metzger in 11th, Lockie Epps in 12th, Matt Walters 13th, Max Stoper. Can't say how good that is for Max Stoper to get out there after that crash on Friday afternoon. Also, too, congratulations to Michael Edwards, who got out there, finished 2 laps down, but and Chandler Cooper, unfortunately, looks like 8 laps from the finish was where he finished up in this race. But look at that, Mike Jones celebrates. What a race win from Mike Jones. It was calculated, and he was almost cunning as well, wasn't he? The way that he was just happy to sit there behind Wayne Maxwell.
Well, he was smarter than Maxwell in that one. Maxwell had the 2 major overtaking spots on the track completely covered. He knew where Jones was going to go past. But what he did was Jones did the unbelievable and did something else. Let's have a look at the Honda highlights.
Off the line, it was Wayne Maxwell that got a great start from the inside of the front row of the grid and led the Yamaha duo of Jones and Halliday up the hill for the first time. Once again, Crew Halliday got a sensational start. He's been getting, as he said, not good starts for quite a while now, and he's managed to get away with the leaders, which made all the difference in the end. Troy Herfoss also got a great start. Unfortunately, Mark Yato's race finished early in the gravel trap.
Yeah, a little bit of work to do there, but Mike Jones was just sitting behind Maxwell. You can see the sliding there. Crew Halliday made a slight mistake, which put him back a little bit. Big battle in the midfield there. Jed Metzger led that one, but Jonesy just trying to find a way through. Tried to dive up the inside into the fish hook a few times, couldn't make it work, so he had to get inventive, and inventive he did get, Phil.
That was a great move by Mike Jones. You could see he just took the corner entry a little bit different, took a wider entry line, got a narrower exit line, and just drove past Maxwell up the hill on board that Yamaha R1M, eventually taking the win by 1.1 seconds, with his teammate Crew Halliday joining him on the podium in 3rd, but Maxwell takes solid championship points in 2nd place as well, and Mike Jones 3 in a row. Now it's time to head down to our podium for hear from our top 3. They're with KP.
Crew Halliday in P3 from YRT Racing. Congratulations. That looked pretty tough for you out there. I saw you having some front wheel issues.
Yeah, no, not with front wheel. I'm just having a lot of, I'm just losing 4 to 5 bike lengths in the middle part of that circuit around that long left. And, I can catch right back up to them, and then as soon as we get back to that long left, it's like they rip me apart again. But, we'll go back to the drawing board and try to work out something in the rear shock. But, hats off to the team. It's good to see, Mike put it up there again for Yamaha, but I need to be beating him. But, yeah, I just need to try work a bit more grip into the back of the bike, and, hopefully we should get a bit further up in the group.
I think you were hoping for a few mistakes out there for the front 2 runners, right?
To be honest, I'd rather just beat them heads up, no mistakes, because I want to show them that I'm the better rider, but obviously today they are.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Crew.
Thank you.
Wayne Maxwell in P2. Wow, that was some pretty intense riding out there. Some great battles. Walk us through it.
Yeah, look, we got a good start and we just set a fairly good rhythm and pace at the start, but yeah, just at the end I just didn't quite have it. I wasn't good enough. I got a little bit of arm pump and it was showed in the race, so it's a bit disappointing for my guys. But hopefully it goes away for the second one a little bit and we can come out and try to improve. So we're there or thereabouts, just a few little areas, and yeah, guess just when Mike follows, he probably just had a little bit left and it was just a bit quick for me at the end. But congratulations to those guys, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
Thanks, Wayne. We'll see you for the next race. Mike Jones, YRT Racing. Wow, Yamaha are just blitzing it. You are just on fire. Well done. A fantastic win, a really smart ride.
Yeah, thanks very much. Made a reasonably good start there. I'd like it to be a little bit better, but it was okay. And followed Wayne for obviously the majority of the race there. But we just had a little bit extra, you know. I was feeling fit, really good. No arm pump or anything like that. So was able to make the pass towards the end of the race and hold on to it.
Fantastic. Well, good luck for the next race.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations to Mike Jones, third win in a row for the Queenslander, and he now leads the championship on 112 points over Brian Starring in second place on 86. That second place has moved Wayne Maxwell up into third place on 84 points. Josh Waters in fourth, Glenn Allerton in fifth on 75 points. Right behind him, Crew Halliday in sixth place on 72. Tied with Arthur Cece's in seventh, Troy Herfoss in eighth, Daniel Fowson in ninth. Ant West rounds out the top 10. Hayden Wagner not here this weekend, holds down 11th position. Mark Kyoto didn't finish that race, he's in 12th. Matt Walters, who had a disastrous round at Queensland, will just be happy to finish the race there at Wakefield Park, 32 points in 13th position. Plenty more action coming up here from Wakefield Park. A short break and back here for the next race on this afternoon's program, which will be the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup.
Kinnies are quintessential part of Australian boating. We love them for their versatility, durability, and most importantly, for producing everlasting memories on the water. The ultimate tinny setup demands the ultimate outboard motor, and Suzuki's large range of portable and mid-size outboards are the perfect choice for the Aussie fisherman.
At My Bike Insurance, we are motorcycle specialists. It's all in the name. We understand how important your motorcycle is to you, and because of this, we strive to provide peace of mind cover for you and your motorcycle, no matter where your bike takes you. Visit the My Bike website for a quick and easy quote, or call the My Bike Insurance team on 1300 780 446 today.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
This year in the top end, trackside pride is set to ignite at the Merlin-Darwin Triple Crown with the first official Indigenous round of the Supercars Championship. It's heart-pounding fun for the whole family and a proud Aussie motorsport first not to be missed. The Merlin-Darwin Triple Crown Indigenous round, June 17 to 19. Hearts will race. Book now at darwinsupercars.com.au.
Welcome back to Wakefield Park, the nation's spectator circuit for round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. We are getting ready now for the next race on the program, which is Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. The man that has been very rapid this weekend, Cameron Dunker, sits on pole position on board bike number 3. He has been having a fantastic weekend so far. He's already taken victory in both the Dunlop Supersport 300 races this weekend, and sitting next to him on the grid is last year's OJC Blue Crew Junior Cup champion, Cameron Swain, on board bike number 26.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what Cameron Swain can do. He didn't qualify so well last time out in the 300 Supersport, but really interesting to see what he can do, because he's in a really good position there. Hayden Nelson, of course, third on the front row as well. We know what he can do. He had some great results last time out. Glenn Nelson's up there too, so pretty much it's going to be really interesting to see. Teo Aksu start from the second row of the grid, Phil, and he has actually got a little bit of work to do. He needs to get a good start. You know, I'm sure he's looking forward to having a good battle for the win in this. But in the end, there's a few different names up the top. It's going to be interesting to see who can take this one out. Who can take it to Cameron Swain? Can Cameron Swain win?
Also, you'd have to think that Nelson on board bike number 279 that finished in third place in yesterday's race is probably a contender. And also the other Nelson, Glenn Nelson, on board bike number 39, who finished yesterday in second place, only 0.025 behind our race leader, Cameron Dunker. After what we've seen over the last couple of rounds, would also be a possible contender of that. Can't discount riders on those two bikes there, 25, which is Brody Gorwith, and also Henry Snell. Liam Waters on the 181 machine also be up there with the lead as well.
Yeah, good riding from him as well.
So coming around to take up their positions on the grid now for the second race of the weekend for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup.
Jonathan Nail is back out there as well. He had an off earlier on in the day, so he will be wanting to make amends. He starts from 8th.
Yep, swap bikes off the Ninja 400 in Supersport 300 back onto the R3 for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. There's Cameron Swain on the Pro GP racing machine, joined on the front row of the grid by our pole sitter Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3, and also on the outside of the grid Nelson on 279. Red flag leaves the grid, ready to go racing. Race 2 for the Dunlop, so the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. R3 Cup is go. Looked like a pretty good start from Nelson on the inside of the circle as well, but Cameron Dunker also got a pretty good start as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. Coming up the inside is Marianus Nicholas on board bike number 46. Ooh. He's come from nowhere. He's done it after CC's. He slipped back now to 4th position though. He didn't get the run out of Motul Corner turn 2 that he would have wanted. And I think you'll find that Cameron Swain has now made his way up into 3rd place behind our race leader, Cameron Dunker, on board bike number 3.
Nevertheless, that was a great start by Marianus Nicholas. He'd have to be pretty happy with that. It's put him in a real good position up near the front there.
They're just ahead of Teo Aksu on board bike number 91. So they make their way down to Pirelli for the first time. It's like a pretty good battle there from about 4th place. They were all trying to put manoeuvres on each other as they came down through Pirelli. They thin out a fraction through Honda. Bit of a creative line there for Liam Waters on board the 181 machine.
Brody Gorwith was wide there too on the number 25 machine, just on the inside of your screen there.
Well, you know who's lost out in that melee making its way out of turn 2 and up the hill for the first time was Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39. Back into a 6th position, so he's got a lot of work to do. He wants to try and make his way forward. He's back up to 5th now is Glenn Nelson.
I'll tell you what, Hayden Nelson, keep an eye on him. I reckon he's found something this weekend. He's like right up at the front of all of these 300 classes now. Something that he could, you know, he's been struggling to do in the past, but he's right there now. I think it looked like it was Glenn Nelson as all just gave a bit of a hand signal saying, hey guys, stay behind me and I can drag you up to this group in front. Cameron Dunker, though, probably got different plans to that.
But when we know that when the riders do that, how much riders behind will take notice of that signal?
Not much.
Absolutely none. As we make our way down towards Pirelli now, it is Dunker that still leads from Nelson, sitting in 3rd place. Cameron Swain on board bike number 26. Of course, dominated the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup in 2021 to take the victory and join a very handy group of young up-and-coming riders here in Australia. Another one of them is in this race, Marianus Nicholas, and he's just put a move there on Henry Snell, board bike number 12, to move up 1 position.
Yeah, Marianus Nicholas, he's quite small, isn't he? So he also perhaps gets a little bit of a slipstream advantage due to his aerodynamics and lightweight to some of the other guys out there. But back up front, Glenn Nelson has joined the pack.
He has. He's done a great job to pull himself forward in the space of only, 1 lap or so. We said that he'd lost a fair bit of distance. So as he did earlier on today in the Supersport 300 race, Steve Martin, he's managed to pull himself up onto the back of that group. He now just have a breather for half a lap and plan an assault to try and find his way past Cameron Swain on the Pro GP racing machine, bike number 26. but it's still Cameron Dunker that's looking very smooth and confident out front on board bike number 3.
Well, he hasn't made a gap like he wanted to, though. Liam Waters is there as well.
Nelson just up the inside into 3rd position. Down the bottom of Pirelli, they're getting the better of Cameron Swain, and has now set his sights on Hayden Nelson in 2nd position.
Yeah, Glenn Nelson, definitely the man on a move. Lap time for him last time round was a 1:05.2, a second a lap quicker than our leader, Cameron Dunker.
We had clear air in front of him, but he also had a lot of work to do to try and move up. And as you mentioned in your track preview earlier on, Steve Martin, they hug the wall as they come down the very short bike motorcycle insurance start-finish straight here at Wakefield Park. I remember riding Matt Walton's Superbike here a couple of years ago, and the straight seems very, very short on the Superbike. At least you'd maybe have a chance to have a breather or two on the Supersport 300 or R3 Cup machine.
I don't know, these boys don't look like they're having a breather to me. It looks like it's pretty hectic, because in this class it's all about corner speed, all about keeping that throttle open. If you back off for a millimetre or a second, you lose all that drive, and then the guys behind you can lose 3 or 4 spots. So it's might not be as physically tough, but it's definitely a mentally tough bike to ride.
I thought Teo was actually setting up to try and find his way past Cameron Swain at the bottom of the hill there. Swain was just too good on the brakes. Teo has actually lost the bike length coming down the hill trying to get into Pirelli, and if he's not careful, he could have Liam Waters on board bike number 181 trying to make a way past. He tries, no, can't get the drive down the inside as we come into Yamaha Revjahart corner, and once again it is still Cameron Dunker that leads on board bike number 3 as the conga line sets its way off down the Mobike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight to complete 4 laps of the 8-lap journey.
It just shows you how important qualifying is in this class. I mean, Cameron Swain in the Dunlop 300 Supersport class didn't qualify so well. We didn't really talk about him much because he was off the pack, but he's obviously got the pace to run with these guys. Here in this class, he qualified up the front, and he's in the battle for the win.
And it's amazing because it's the same bike and pretty much the same competitors that he's competing against. As we come through Ducati corner, all the way out onto the ripple strip there for our race leader, Cameron Dunker. First sign of being a fraction untidy at the top of the hill there. Looks like he's managed to get his composure back and still maintains a 2-bike length lead over Glenn Nelson, who's managed to scythe his way through the pack using that familiar style up into 2nd place now on the 39 machine. Hayden Nelson in 4th place up the inside. Teo Aksu trying to find a way past, or was he trying to hold out Cameron Swain on board bike number 26 that he's finally managed to get ahead of?
Look, Cameron Dunker is the man at the moment doing the best job, but Glenn Nelson goes to put that right and takes the lead.
Could that be a rehearsal for the final lap of the race, that he knows if he comes out of the final corner behind Cameron Dunker, he can actually use the slipstream to get himself to the line just ahead of the rider on board bike number 3 that has so far taken 3 race wins from 3 starts in the combined classes of Yamaha Finance R3 Cup and also Dunlop Supersport.
It's a pretty risky situation to be in. Like, it's because as we know, it can go either way when it comes down to that. Somebody could be slipstreaming past you. The ideal thing is to do what Cameron Dunker was trying to do, which is to stretch the group out and get less guys at the front, but because when it's like this, it's going to be frenetic in the last couple of laps.
Well, Dunker's actually slipped back to 3rd position now because he's got both Nelsons ahead of him, Glenn Nelson and Hayden Nelson. Of course, no relation. They've just got the same surname, and at the moment they've got the same thing in common. They desperately want to take a win in this race and upset Cameron Dunker's double apple cart for the weekend. Teo Aksu doing a good job sitting there in 4th place. Cameron Swain in 5th. Liam Waters, the final rider in that 6-bike group. Actually, Liam Waters has got ahead of Cameron Swain. So Swain has dropped back to the rear of this 6-bike field. Teo actually goes around the outside of Dunker at turn 2. And bike's starting to move around a fair bit. Dunker has a look over his shoulder, and all he can see is the 181, the big smiling face of Liam Waters' headlights on the black machine as he makes his way up through Suzuki.
Teo actually had a big moment through that turn 1 there. He just really held that throttle on hard and just nearly lost the front there, but it all came back into line for him, so he got lucky there. That just shows you how desperate he is to get on the podium and go.
There in 4th position at the moment, but he's going to have to try hard to try and find his way past Aksu. He does that and he goes past Nelson as well. So he goes from 4th to 2nd. Can he maintain the drive to stay with Glenn Nelson as they make their way out onto the MyBike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight? They will get the last lap board now, so only 2.2 kilometres to go for this second race of the weekend for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. They're 4 abreast as they come down towards Motul Corner Turn 2 for the last time. And it is Cameron Dunker that slips into the lead now. Can he get the drive up the hill and maintain his position through that very, very tight and tricky top section of the circuit here? Through Dunlop we go. You can see them riding over the bumps. Now it's Suzuki, and then we start the run down the hill to Pirelli.
That was a pretty impressive move by Cameron. We were talking about him not getting on the podium, and within half a straight, he's leading. I mean, it was great racecraft what he
through Honda for the last time. It'll be a big late-braking manoeuvre at turn 10, Yamaha Regihart corner, or a slipstream to the line that is going to try and help Glenn Nelson. He can't get up the inside at turn 10. It's going to have to be a slipstream to the line, Steve. He's done it once in this race. Can he do it again?
He's got good drive out. He's going to have to pull out fairly soon to get past Dunker if he can, but Dunker's tucked in big. It's going to be close. And Nelson goes through.
He pulls out and gets the run to the line. Glenn Nelson takes the win. Another narrow margin, the first non-bike number. Of a second, with the official winning margin being given to Glenn Nelson of 0.007 of a second. Wow, that was just as close as the 0.005 that we saw yesterday where Cameron Dunker took the win. Hayden Nelson will also be on the podium, 0.17 of a second behind our race leader. So Glenn Nelson takes the win over Cameron Dunker. Hayden Nelson in third, Teo Aksu in fourth, Cameron Swain in fifth, Liam Waters in sixth, Brody Gorwick took seventh, Henry Snell took eighth, Marianas Nicholas took ninth, and Sam Pizzetta, the South Australian, rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, perfect. Good on Marcus Hammond, 2 and 13th. Cooper Roundtree in 12th. Jamie Port got some points on his comeback as well. Good to see Jai Russo there, and Geordie Simpson, the South Australian. He managed to finish the race, which was good for him to get the last point.
Let's have a look at the Honda race highlights. It was a great run off the line for our race, or our pole sitter, Cameron Dunker, who led them through turn 1 for the first time. But also a great start too from Liam Waters, who was well and truly up with the lead group as we got off on the first lap of this 8-lap journey.
Yeah, Hayden Nelson was doing a good job to stay up there in that leading bunch, and Glenn Nelson had to make his way through the pack, didn't he? Come from a long way back. We almost rode him off, but bang, before we knew it, he was in the lead.
Right behind him, though, was Hayden Nelson on board bike number 279, but doing a good job to control the machine over those bumps, making a big charge forward, was Teo Aksu on board bike number 91.
Good to see Liam Waters in the back of that group too, just hanging in there, doing a good job trying to dive up the inside, couldn't quite do it, had to fall back in line and fit position.
Cameron Dunker was fourth, and within a couple of corners he was in the lead of the race. Glenn Nelson had a big lunge at the bottom of Pirelli there, couldn't quite get it done, had another go at Yamaha Regihart corner, couldn't quite get it done, but as we'd seen earlier on in the race, he used the slipstream to perfection to pull out just in the nick of time and take the win by 0.007 of a second, and upsetting Cameron Dunker's perfect weekend so far in both the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup and also Dunlop Supersport. Championship points now for the R3 Cup sees Glenn Nelson on 170 points, Cameron Dunker on 158 in first and second, Hayden Nelson in third on 124, Henry Snell in fourth on 119, Sam Pizzetta in fifth on 105, then it's Jay Russo, Teo Aksu, Liam Waters, Mitch Simpson and Brody Gorwick that round out the top 10.
Yeah.
Down to KP with our top 3 at the AMX Superstores podium.
In P3, Hayden Nelson, it's good to see you up here again. Once again, a tough race.
Yeah, it seems like the front group's getting bigger and bigger each race, so obviously becoming more difficult, but I'm happy to finish on the podium again consistently. So, yeah, thanks to all the people helping me out again, Taro Motorcycles, Gow Moto and Night Designs. Thank you.
Well done, Hayden. Congratulations. And in P2, Cameron Dunker. Now, we thought you were going to take out the win to make it a perfect weekend, but not quite.
Yeah, I tried and fought really hard, but Glenn got me in the end, and it was a pretty good race. The last 2 laps I sort of started falling back a bit, but happy to be back on the podium.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank just everyone who helps.
Thanks, Cameron. Glenn Nelson, P1, well done. That was a monumental effort, and it was really tight between you and Cameron.
Yeah, I had another bad start, so I was dropped back to about 6, but I made my way back up. So I led for a couple of laps, but he got by me on the last lap, so I knew all I had to do was just get to the line.
Great. Good luck for the next one, Glenn. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, KP. Top effort there from Glenn Nelson to take his first win for the weekend over Cameron Dunker and Hayden Nelson. Congratulations to those three. Plenty more action coming up here from Wakefield Park. We have the fourth and final race for the Battery World Aussie racing cars coming up next. But before that, a very short break here from Wakefield Park.
This engine has had a paradigm shift to achieve a totally new mission.
Twisters. Nailing the perfect landing. Leaning into every corner. Losing yourself on the open road. There's no feeling like it. The howl of the wind in your ears. Feeling every vibration. Every inch of the tarmac. Just right.
Welcome back to Wakefield Park, the third round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. We have had a fantastic morning's racing action here from the Nation Spectator Circuit. Coming up next is the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars, their fourth and final race for the weekend. Then we get into our afternoon program, where we will see the third and final race for all of the support classes, the second and final race for both the Michelin Supersport and also the Alpine Stars Superbike class. And the championships have taken a bit of a shake-up, probably none more so, Steve Martin, than the Michelin Supersport class, with multiple championship leaders having problems and been not able to race or out of the weekend's racing action. We've seen three championship leaders just in the last couple of races.
Yeah, it's almost like you shouldn't be leading that championship, isn't it? I mean, poor old Ollie Simpson, who came in here looking pretty, injured himself in practice. Then we had the race winner, Scott Nicholson from up in Queensland, had a crash in this race, was brave enough to pick it up. Tom Bramich had an off as well. I mean, he's up there for the championship league. Ty Lynch did a good job, as well as John Littris did too, to bring themselves and maintain themselves high in that championship. But just seems to be anybody.
for the first time in the lead, but it was the Yamaha duo that qualified first and second that sat in positions 2 and 3. The good news is that the governor of Goulburn, Troy Herfoss, got a good start and was in touch with the lead group early on in the race.
Yeah, he certainly was. His fastest lap time was there. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to find the speed. Unfortunately for Marcus Chiodo, he'll be using his second bike later on today. Mike Jones, though, what a job he did. He mirrored Wayne Maxwell out front. Maxwell, we now know, was struggling with arm pump issues. He'll be working hard to fix that up.
That was a good battle with Jed Metzer, Ant West, also Matt Walters involved in that as well. But Jones tried a couple of different places to try and put an overtaking manoeuvre on. Couldn't get it done on the brakes, so he just used superior drive and grip from his Pirelli rear tyre to get the run up the hill through AWMF corner and get ahead of Wayne Maxwell with a very short distance to go, and then was able to pull away to take, in the end, what was a pretty comfortable victory over the reigning champion on board bike number 1, with his teammate Crew Halliday joining him on the podium in 3rd position. So congratulations to Mad Mike, who I think is here at Wakefield Park.
AWMF can help power your passion. We offer flexible, tailored finance solutions to motorcycle and marine customers Australia-wide. Our motorcycle and marine specialists can help you finance your motorcycle, scooter, personal watercraft or boat package with quick and easy approvals, fixed rate terms, flexible finance options and competitive rates. Call AWMF on 1300 263 123 or visit the website today.
Tinnies, a quintessential part of Australian boating. We love them for their versatility, durability, and most importantly, for producing everlasting memories on the water. The ultimate tinny setup demands the ultimate outboard motor, and Suzuki's large range of portable and mid-size outboards are the perfect choice for the Aussie fisherman.
Well, today was important to adapt these tires to the bike, because for me it was the first time to use these tires here in Portimao, and sincerely was quite good. I get ready very soon on this track, so was a good day. Yeah, it comes really quick, sincerely, because these tires a bit soft, and especially I like to feel when the bike is closing, when the front is closing or this. So for this reason I adapt well. The performance is quite nice. I did 53 laps this morning, and the rear soft looks quite nice, so this is a good thing.
Well, welcome back to Wakefield Park and continuing action from the 3rd round of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. Getting ready now for the 4th and final race for the Aussie race cars, but let's have a look at the Honda highlights now from race number 2. And Lockie Mansell, what a great start, but what we saw was a reverse grid resulting in fast riders being back in the pack, but lots of spins on the first lap.
You always get plenty of action in the reverse grid race. We saw Cody McKay spinning at turn 2, and then Nicholas Lichtenberger spinning out of the top 3 position up the top of the hill at turn number 4. Lane Bowler was the initial leader, but soon shuffled back down the order. Reece Chapman had a turn in the lead. We saw that Cody Garwin was charging hard. Lachlan Ward making his way through the field as well, as were a couple of very fast and feisty young guns in Josh Anderson and Tom Heyman, our points leader. Cody Garwin, though, taking advantage of the cleared track to get to the front of the motor race and then pull clear of his nearest rivals.
Also, pretty good charge too from coming back further in the pack was our race 2 winner, Tom Heyman, who had a bit of work to do. You can see him here on the green, or in the green car, getting the good run there. Excellent track position and came up the inside to move forward a couple of positions in one fell swoop.
Yeah, great racecraft. So Tom Heyman, been a revelation since he joins this category. He's proving himself not just to be very fast and able to control races from the front of the field, but able to pick his way through a bit further back in the pack. But Cody Garland, fresh from racing his Renault TCR car up at Bathurst at the 6 Hour last weekend, slots into the pocket rocket Aussie racing car, picks up a race win, his first race win of the season. But as we prepare ourselves for the fourth and final race of the weekend, the grid positions will be determined based on points accumulated by the drivers in the first 3 races, which sees Tom Heyman and Cody Garland, our 2 race winners, sharing the front row of the grid with Lachlan Ward and Josh Anderson out of positions 3 and 4. Reece Chapman and Ryan Reynolds next. Anthony Demoro, Courtney Prince, Lee Bowler, and young Ryland Gray, the youngest driver in the field at 15 years old, rounding out the top 10.
Well, the action in the first 3 races, anything to go by. We're in for another absolute treat of these. Well, they may be racing cars, but they share so much motorcycle DNA. They've got motorbike engines in them, and they're not that much bigger than a motorbike, really, are they? Very, very small little cars. And as you mentioned, Lockie, they're also running different tyres this weekend, which has really thrown a few of the teams a bit of a curveball.
It's thrown a lot of the teams and drivers a curveball. Normally they run on Kumo control tyres, but due to some supply chain challenges, as has been the case with all different components, they're having to run on Nankang tyres this weekend, which are a completely different compound design. It's a much harder compound tyre, and the drivers and the teams have found themselves with a few challenges, not just with car setup, but also with driving technique to deal with the different way that the tyre behaves. But from our perspective, all we care about is the racing, and it's been thoroughly entertaining right throughout the weekend. This, Phil, will be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, plenty of action, plenty of brake lockups. Interestingly, they're running 13-inch tyres. That's the size that my first motor car actually had on these little machines. We're ready to go racing for the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars. Final race about to get underway.
Revs are rising here at Wakefield Park. 12 laps the distance once again for the final race of the weekend. Racing away we go. Good reaction time from both our drivers starting on the front row of the grid. Tom Heyman is going to have the preferred inside line, and he will take the lead down through turn number 1 ahead of Cody Garwood. Lachlan Ward has lost a couple of spots, both the Cool Drive cars getting ahead of him, and then Ryan Reynolds there in the Top Gun Racing Team entry, slotting in behind Lachlan Ward to the outside of Reece Chapman as they head out up the top of the hill, but he gets muscled out high and wide. He'll have to tuck back in behind.
Well, we also saw that Tom Heyman was the fastest driver in the 3rd race, where he had to come through the field starting from 10th position. In race 2, he eventually got out into a lead and was untroubled. He's looking to try and do that again early on. He's got a pretty handy lead as they come to the bottom of Pirelli for the first time. Or one of the drivers, I think it was Cody Garland, run wide there in... we've got one off the circuit as well, but Garland ran a little bit wide, was challenged by the first of the Cool Drive machines. It looks like he's got back into 2nd position.
And Adam Clark, that was running right off the circuit at the fishhook, 3 wide into turn number 10, and Cody Garland gets tagged from behind from Lachlan Ward. He's in a Cool Drive Racing sandwich with Anderson, Chapman ahead and Anderson just behind. And in fact, it's Josh Anderson who loses a lot of momentum there because of the bump and run coming out of that final corner. Gets shuffled back 3-4 positions, switches back to the inside, makes the big dive through to Chapman to recapture one of those spots.
Well, as they make their way up towards the top of the hill, let's keep our eye on this little battle that's happening back there for what is that 5th and 6th position. Looks like a little bit of a gap starting to move there from position number 4, Lachlan Ward in the 117 car. Looks like he's the lead, or the last rider or driver in that little group of 3 that's battling for 2nd, 3rd and 4th position. But bottom of the hill, it is Tom Heyman that has really just got away at the front. His current lead is about just over 2 seconds.
A little gap emerging there, but a big gap emerging at the front of the field. All of this dicing for 2nd position. Tom Heyman says thanks very much, and he's already established a lead of 2.7 seconds over the rest of the field. So Tom Heyman's gone. He's driving away at the front of this motor race, as we see a bit further back in the pack. One of the local Legends cars, that's Courtney Prince in the number 32 machine. Had a poor start, lost some spots on lap 1 as trying to fight her way back inside the top 10.
Well, she's getting up the inside of Joel Heinrich there, I think, at Yamaha Revjahart's corner. So a big move on the brakes as we come down to Motul corner. on the third lap of this 12-lap race. Imagine we saw Wayne Maxwell said that he had a fair bit of arm pump
Contacts Lachlan Ward and Cody Garland banging doors on the run up into turn 3, and Lee Boland's had a spin, and Nicholas Lichtenberger, it looks like, there as well. Yep, falling down the order as well.
Absolute chaos at Motul Corner there, it looked like. He started the race. I was just saying that Wayne Maxwell said he had arm pump in the Superbike race. I reckon you get arm pump trying to muscle one of these things around here at Wakefield Park as well.
They are very physical cars to drive, sequential gearboxes, because they are running that 1300cc Yamaha engine. One of our other competitors a bit earlier in the weekend, Cody Brzezinski, lost second gear in his gearbox and unfortunately got ruled out for the rest of the weekend because, of course, if you have a gearbox problem, it means you have to replace the entire engine. There's young Ryder Quinn, son of Clark Quinn, grandson of Tony Quinn, in a battle with the other local legends car of Courtney Prince, as we see Reece Chapman giving Cody Garland a buck draft down the main straight. Lachlan Ward did exceptionally well on the previous lap to maintain control of his car at turn 3 and not go spearing off the racetrack altogether. And now it's going to be the cool drive car of Reece Chapman that tries to make the move on the outside of Cody Garland at turn 3. That puts him on the inside for turn 4. Nicely done. And moves up into position 3. So cool drive cars now occupying positions 2 and 3 in the motor race.
You're saying the best thing about the Aussie race cars is they're only small and you can fit them two abreast on even the narrow parts of the Wakefield Park circuit. Look at this group, Lockie, as they come towards the bottom of the hill here. And that's the battle, I think, is it for about third, 4th and 5th position, because our race leader, Tom Heyman, has now got a 3.1 second lead over the rest of the field. Second place is Josh Anderson in car number 36. And then the next driver through is his teammate, Reece Chapman, on the second of the cool drive machines. The local legends, they're having a good battle with each other.
Ryder Quinn trying to get down the inside of Anthony Tamoro at turn 10, but ran wide on the exit. And young Ryland Gray, the 15-year-old, wanting to capitalise there as well, might get some help from behind. A bit of a push from Courtney Prince. A big braking duel into turn 2. As Quinn squeezes him right up against the curb, and that battle is going to continue all the way up the hill on the run into turn number 3. Can young Gray hang tough around the outside? He'll try to do it on the inside for turn number 4. They're still side by side at the top of the hill, and finally it's Gray who prevails and gets the job done.
Interesting there, we've got 4 of the different bodywork packages. We've got a Camaro, we've got a Mercedes, we've got a Mustang, and we've also got Camry. Or an Altima, I think it is.
Or a Toyota Orion, I think you'll find. But one thing we should emphasise is that regardless of the body shell, the mechanical components are identical.
Yeah, but it's always good to see Mustang.
Not that you're biased or anything. Well, Mustangs do a fair bit of winning in other forms of motorsport here in Australia and overseas, of course, as we see Ryan Reynolds attacking the back of Cody Garland. Ryan Reynolds, a driver who's had a lot of success here at Wakefield Park in Formula V racing, small open wheel race cars that are a very important part of the junior development landscape when it comes to four-wheel motorsport here in Australia. And Ryan Reynolds has adapted with great distinction to the Aussie racing cars, as we say that Lachlan Ward, after surviving that drama of the opening few laps, has managed to get back up into position 4 and is applying the pressure to our third-place driver, Reece Chapman.
So how important, Lockie, is this class in getting young drivers out of karts and actually into smaller racing cars?
It is very important, and we've seen over the years a lot of drivers using this as a stepping stone out of go-karts to, I suppose, full-size race cars. And some of the more prominent drivers to come out of this category, Nick Percat, the 2011 Bathurst 1000 winner, now, of course, the full-time competitor in the Repco Supercars Championship, and Justin Ruggier, another fairly prominent name who's done a lot of racing in Aussie racing cars, and we've also seen him have success in Super 3 and Super 2, the development categories in the supercars progression ladder.
I think we've also seen in the past, haven't we, some V8 legends coming back and having wildcards in this class as well.
Indeed, names like Russell Ingall and Paul Morris and Neil Crompton. In fact, the last time we had these Aussie racing cars here at Wakefield Park back in 2008, both Russell Ingall and Paul Morris were on the grid as Lachlan Ward gets the move done on Reece Chapman, and Cody Garland takes advantage to follow him through. So Lachlan Ward back up inside the top 3. He's had pretty decent race pace in that car right throughout the weekend. The problem for him is that he is a daunting 6.3 seconds behind second place Josh Anderson. I think all of that squabbling early in the race may have just cost him a bit too much margin to the race leaders.
I also think that Reece Chapman may have been given a bit of a Liberace in the back end of his vehicle. There's a bit of bodywork starting to move around there as well as we go back to an AMX Superstores replay of this manoeuvre down into Motul corner turn 2. See, that looked like it was pretty lucky for Cody Garland not to run into the back of the car in front. Of course, Cody Garland was our race 3 victor, not having everything his own way in this one.
No, so getting shuffled back a few spots. And that's Mark Tarrant, the oldest driver in the field at 54 years old and one of the drivers in the older style body shell Aussie racing car. Clearly a mechanical problem there which has caused his car to grind to a halt out on the racetrack.
The coolest looking car in the field.
You're a fan of that one?
I reckon it looks sensational. I used to love when the Aussie racing cars were all the old body shapes, but the new ones have certainly added a little bit of spice and probably made them a little bit more current, haven't they?
Battles continuing all the way throughout the top 10 as the 2 local legend cars continue their aggressive battle for track position, with Ryder Quinn continuing to hold on from Courtney Prince. Ryder Quinn, the grandson of Tony Quinn, who through his business Local Legends is a big supporter of a lot of motor racing talent. Owner of course now of Queensland Raceway, and also involved as an investor in the 888 Motorsport Supercars squad as well.
And we're also at Queensland Raceway for the last round, and the amount of infrastructure work that Tony Quinn's actually doing there, very, very impressive.
And from time to time we see Tony having a run in the Aussie racing cars just for a bit of fun as well. So a very passionate supporter of motorsport, and great to see him supporting this category as Joel Heinrich there gets the run down the inside of Anthony DeMoro through turn 1. Then a bit of a comeback mission for Joel Heinrich. We saw that he charged his way all the way up to 6th position in race 3 earlier on, but with the way that the race format works, he was starting a bit further down the order for this race, and once again he's had to fight his way back to the front. Is
that Joel Heinrich just putting a big move on number 9 of Ryan Reynolds there as they come up towards the top of the hill? That was a Mike Jones-esque manoeuvre with a great drive up the hill, putting him in position to make a big move at Dunlop Corner.
He's got good race pace at the moment, Joel Heinrich, and once again he's worked his way up to 6th as Tomorrow has a big lunge down the inside of Ryan Reynolds. Those cars will continue to swap paint on the run up into turn number 9. Reynolds wants to muscle his way back.
Oh, poor old Ryan Reynolds got hit amidships there, didn't he, as they came into the corner. He's got some scarring on the side of car number 9, the Shell Rimula machine.
And Ryland Gray down the inside of Anthony DeMoro as well. So DeMoro in that little exchange has been belted from pillar to post.
I think you mentioned that Ryland Gray was the youngest rider in the field too, 15 years of age, obviously coming out of junior categories.
Coming out of go-karts, as a lot of drivers have. DeMoro back down the inside of Reynolds. Reynolds will look to do the switchback and get the better exit out of turn 2 for the run up the hill. We've seen a lot of cars running side by side up into turn 3, and you always hold your breath when they swing into the left-hander. On this occasion, they all managed to make it through without drama, although Reynolds gets pretty crossed up through there. One of the things, because these cars do have such short wheelbases and such narrow track fill, they do tend to get quite unsettled if you hit the curbs too hard or at the wrong angle.
Well, that was completely launched. Oh, big brake lock up there for Ryan Reynolds at the bottom of the hill. He's lost a position too. Looks like that Ryland Gray came flying through in car number 67. So Gray's moved up one position. That will put him up to 8th place now. As we look back through the field to see the local legends still going at it. They've been going at it for half race distance. As we come round to complete lap 10.
Oh, and around goes, that's Ryder Quinn spinning off the circuit. So finally that battle comes to an end, and Ryder Quinn finds himself facing backwards in the final corner.
Not the first person to have done that this weekend. Facing backwards, you know.
Facing backwards? No. No, it's not the first time we've seen that this weekend. A few other good performances are Kent Quinn, another member of the Quinn family, one of Tony Quinn's sons, moving up into 13th position. Ryder Quinn's fallen back to 19th position after that spin at turn 10 there. He is recovering. Good to see that he has managed to rejoin the racetrack. And Joel Heinrich, fastest lap of the race. I mentioned that he was on the move.
for this class of 105.876. That's a pretty impressive time. Oh, sorry, 105.678.
And that was set back in 2008. Last time we had the Aussie racing cars here by a young and talented driver by the name of Ben McCashney. We haven't quite got down to that sort of speed this weekend, and a lot of that is because these cars are running restrictors, so not putting out quite as much horsepower as they did back then. We are on the final lap, but there's still battles to be resolved, including this one between Anthony Demoro and Ryland Gray. Demoro managing to get back ahead of Gray on the run up the hill into turn number 3. What a sensational performance it's been, though, for Tom Heyman, the 17-year-old from up in Newcastle. Only started racing cars after a very successful career in go-karts, but this season in the Aussie racing cars, he is well and truly establishing himself as a driver to take notice of. He won round 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park. He won round 2 at Symmons Plains. His perfect score continues. He makes it 3 from 3 here at Wakefield Park this weekend. Young Tom Heyman is your round winner for the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars Super Series here at Wakefield Park. Josh Anderson coming home in second in the race and also second overall for the round once we work out points for the weekend. And Lachlan Ward will round out our round podium. Reece Chapman finishing up in 4th position in the race ahead of the fast finishing Joel Heinrich, just ahead of Cody Garland. But the Aussie racing cars, I think you would have to say, Phil, a popular addition to the support program for the Australian Superbike Championship this weekend.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to have them here. Of course, the strong motorcycle DNA means that they're a great fit to have with the ASBK Championship, and good to see them back on the same program once again. I think the last time was in Darwin where we saw the two categories racing together. But yes, Tom Heyman, what an impressive effort in car number 30. The way he was able to use the curbs on that last race and still maintain his track position, but getting sideways out of the last corner to celebrate early, that was what did it for me.
And this is one of those categories where if you can win, people will take notice, that's for sure. Confirmation of the final results, Heyman from Anderson and Ward. Then it was Reece Chapman. Joel Heinrich, great performance for him to get back up into the top 5. Cody Garland in 6th. Ryland Gray, Ryan Reynolds, Anthony Demoro and Courtney Fritz completing our top 10 in the final analysis. Honourable mention to Matt Forbes Wilson, who came from the rear of the field up to 11th spot. But thoroughly entertaining racing from the Aussie racing cars all weekend, and like I said, if you perform well in this category, you will get noticed by other members of the car racing fraternity. As we check out some highlights from race number 4, final race of the weekend for the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars Series. The tiniest start this time around. Tom Heyman put his head down. All of the action was happening behind him on the racetrack.
Yeah, there was plenty of action from the Cool Drive cars who were disputing the positions. Josh Anderson managed to work his way up into 2nd place, but it wasn't without a whole lot of people trying to get past him, especially you saw there through the final corner.
Bit of a nervous moment for Lee Bolger and also Nicholas Lichtenberger down the bottom of the circuit. We saw plenty of side-by-side action up at turn number 3. Young Cody Garland getting assaulted by a pair of Cool Drive cars and eventually muscled out and off the road. We saw the 2 local legend cars engaged in their own battle as well, and young Ryland Gray joining them for company in what was a terrific squabble at the tail end of the top 10.
Yeah, that battle went on for pretty much the entire race distance until unfortunately one of them got shuffled out into the turf at the exit of turn 10. But this battle between car number 41, who was Cody Garland, took the race 3 victory, but had a fair bit more work to do and didn't have everything going his own way in race 4.
Joel Heinrich, a man on a mission as he works his way up through the field, punching out the fastest lap of the race as he clawed his way up into 5th position. And then we saw Ryan Reynolds and Anthony Demoro getting stuck into it a bit further back in the pack. Young Ryland Gray, only 15 years old, but not afraid to battle with the more senior drivers. The local legends battle finally came to an end with Ryder Quinn spinning out of proceedings at turn 10.
Top of the hill, though, it was this good battle between the youngster Ryland Gray, having a good battle there and eventually finishing in a very strong position, 7th place, but no one could touch this man. Tom Heyman took the win by 2.9 seconds over Josh Anderson and Lachlan Ward.
And he will extend his points lead heading to the next round of Mount Panorama, sporting the Bathurst 12 Hour in May.
Plenty more action to come here at Wakefield Park as we prepare for the podium for the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars Championship this weekend. 4 hard-fought races, but plenty more two-wheel action coming up in this afternoon's program. We've got the final race for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, Supersport 300, of course Alpine Stars Superbike, and of course the R3 Cup and the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup round out today's program here at round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship. Let's go down to KP on the podium.
In P3, Lachlan Ward, congratulations. You look like you had a good time out there.
Oh, yeah, it was a really good race. Like, me and Reese have been battling all weekend, and that was, again, just another good battle with Reese. I think we got him about halfway through the race and just maintained that gap with him, but yeah, overall, good race.
Any thank yous?
Oh, massive thanks to all my sponsors, especially my major sponsor, Productivity Bootcamp. Without those guys, I couldn't be here. 1-800 promo for the car, like, they wrapped it all. It looks awesome. And Morgan Motorsport, he set the car up all weekend, like, absolute mint. It was good. Excellent
stuff. Well, congratulations. And in P2, we have Lachlan Ward. Come on over. You look a little tired.
Yeah, it was a pretty tiring race, that one. The first lap shenanigans took the best out of me, and then yeah, just trying to catch Tom. He had really good speed, so I was working hard on that one.
But some really valuable points.
Yeah, exactly. It was a pretty rough round really for us. We qualified second, but then we fell behind in the first race, and that put us behind the 8 ball all weekend. So to come back in the second or in the last one and have a relatively good race was happy.
Thank you so much, Josh Anderson. Well done. And in P1, a huge congratulations to Tom Heyman. Wow, you just got some serious points in there, and you are sweating. Excellent racing out there.
Yeah, obviously, big thank you to all the boys at Aero Autosport, my team, Tom Heyman Motorsport. It's been a great weekend. They keep giving me a car that's quick, and yeah.
Well done. Some new points to take away into round 4, so congrats.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to our top 3, and hopefully it will not be too long until we see the Aussie racing cars back on the ASBK program.
No, like I said, next round for the Aussie racing cars coming up, supporting the Bathurst 12-hour will be fantastic to see these little pocket rockets in action on Mount Panorama. Imagine the slipstreaming that we'll be seeing up Mountain Straight and down Conrod Straight. I think we'll be seeing plenty of cool positional swaps and dices for position.
Well, thanks very much for tuning in this morning. Plenty more action coming up this afternoon. Of course, remember, live action on SBS, SBS HD, and also Stan Sport, starting from 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be back with more live stream action this afternoon later on for the final 2 races on today's program, the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup and the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. Join us then.
Get over the lift.